freak.
You can't handle the truth. You can't handle the truth.
What do all men in power want? More power.
My name is luca-zanna. I was an Italian by birth, and I became an American by choice. Our lives and freedoms are in danger. This is not a drill. If you're listening to this broadcasting, you are the resistance.
All systems go.
Welcome to Love, Guns, and Freedom.
We're not afraid.
Here we go, guys and girls. You're listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom on KTOX 1340 AM and on United States.FM network. Yes, I'm back. Last Sunday, probably you heard a replay, a real broadcast. Guess what? I was at a gun show, and I had a great time. I met some of yous, and it was pretty beautiful, I tell you. I love the experience of gun shows. You know, you can meet people, you can trade, you can pretty much mind your business. I like that. And we had a great fun. I will talk more about that during the second hour. Great deals. We brought the smoke grenades, the Freedom Rifle. As I said, mostly also was a human event, you know, to meet some of you that normally, I know you listen to me or you are my listeners, so Facebook friends. So that was really a great human contact. I enjoyed that. Now, today's topic, at least the first part of the first hour, is about freedom. You know my position on marijuana or any other herbs. I don't care if it's basil, sage, marijuana, whatever, hashish. I don't care. It's an herb, okay? And the bottom line, more important, it's your body. That's my position. You know, I don't smoke. I don't smoke anything. At the same time, I always say I would really support with my life the right of people who wants to decide what they want to drink, what they want to eat, what they want to smoke. It's their damn business, especially where they can afford it, especially where they can do it in the safety of their own environment. Because the point is, if really we come to the point, the government can tell us, like a big daddy or big mommy, what you can eat, or what you can drink, or what you can smoke, you are just a freaking slave. Simple as that. So that's why I'm very passionate when it comes down to this, let's say, topic of legalization. And for me, it's not even about legalization, because a herb, a natural plant, should never be legal. It is already legal. Maybe we should decriminalize it. That's the way I look at that. So even I'm not a smoker, I'm not a user, and even I believe, though, there are some really good therapeutical purposes for marijuana. But beside that, I don't care if it was therapeutical or not. It's a freaking right of yourself to enjoy life the way you like it. You know, I like to drink wine, and guess what? We know a few years ago in this country it was prohibited, okay? That was the prohibition. It didn't work there right. And, you know, this is the same mentality of the Taliban. They can tell you if you can smoke or drink or what you can do in your private life. So that's why I really say, guess what? We got to try to educate people about what's going on, and I believe we got the right guy here today. Even sometimes many other topics, we are not exactly on the same spectrum, political spectrum, but when it comes down to decriminalization, I would like to say, of the marijuana or legalization, I think we are on the same page. Mikel Weisser, are you there?
I am here. Thank you for having me on your show, Luca.
Thank you. I give you the floor. As I said, you know, I want you to make the case with logic, facts, and you're a very informed person about this topic, about the proposition that right now is going to be facing the people from Arizona to legalize, the marijuana. We already have medical marijuana, correct?
Yes, we do. As of 2010, the Arizona Medical Marijuana Act created a system where people with qualifying conditions can purchase cannabis and cannabis products in about 100 dispensaries across the state right now. That they're going to expand that to 130 here shortly.
What is the difference now? Because this was for medical condition. Now, what is the new step of Proposition 205?
The key idea behind it is that cannabis could be for anybody. You shouldn't just have to be sick to be allowed to use it.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, the 100,000 people who are in the medical card program represent like 10% of the actual smokers in the state. 43% of the population has tried it at least once. So all those people are currently held as criminals, felons by current law. We want to change that, get that industry under, out of the black market out from under the table, make sure that it's operating fairly, consumers are getting good deals, and businesses are allowed to thrive and function.
Okay.
It is a tremendously entrepreneurial opportunity, just to say.
You know what, I tell you, on this one, of course, the general idea, I agree, because, I don't think nobody should be a criminal just because you own or smoke a plant. That's ridiculous, okay? Mm-hmm. And as I said, always with a condition, like alcohol, you like to probably, maybe, I don't know, smoke marijuana. I like to drink wine at night, okay? It relaxes me, makes me feel better. It's my right, like it's your right to smoke whatever you want. And I don't care if it's marijuana or can be sage, because, by the way, I'm glad that the government didn't find out yet. Sage can be very, is worse than marijuana. I give you a little hallucinogenic experience. And I don't do that, but I use my sage to cook, okay? So think about if one day the government gets crazy, say, what?
Same with nutmeg, by the way.
Exactly. Nutmeg, even worse. So my point, you see how the slippery slope here that they have, they tell us what we can do to ourselves, and that's not the right way. If we are really free, we always should have the basic concept. We do not endanger others. We do not harm others. But when we meet that condition, we should be free to do whatever we want, especially in the privacy on our own homes. Right now, for example, if in my own home, I don't smoke marijuana, but let's say I like to look at that little plant, I collect plants, and I want to grow one of these plants. Is it true that I may be raided and probably even have my home confiscated? Is it true? I mean, this is really to this point.
That is exactly true. The current laws are set up to facilitate what's called civil forfeiture, where the government can claim that any wealth that you have or any assets that you have are the result of illegal enterprises and seize that. In fact, there's billions of dollars seized every year from individual citizens, and that seizure takes place before there's even guilt or innocence proven in a trial. It's very difficult to get those things back. That's the extent of the prohibition that we face right now. It's part of the reason we have to fight against it.
And by the way, I saw a lot of forces against this one. They are, of course, the pharmaceutical lobbies. They're going to be the first one to pay, the damage. They're going to lose customers, okay? And then, of course, there is...
here in this state, the company Insys, INSYS, is the maker of fentanyl, which is the most powerful opioid drug on the pharmaceutical market. They recently donated $500,000, that's $500,000 to the No on Prop 205 campaign. And in their letter to their shareholders justifying the action, they said it was to protect their market.
Yes, because that's exactly the truth. The big pharma is the competition. And by the way, I'm not a doctor, guys. You can go wherever, you can do whatever you want. If you want to go to official drugs or whatever, you want to cure yourself with the herbs. But the point is, you should have the right to cure the way you like it, okay? And that's the bottom line. Now, the way the system is set up, you have only one way, and it's their way, the mafia way, the big pharma way. And don't you dare to say, hey, maybe I think an herb can help me out better than you big pharmaceutical things. No, you have not that option. You will be raided, as you said, and probably you will be spent time in jail, and maybe your property will be confiscated without due process. So that's, for me, why it's so important, this topic. And by the way, I heard from different stories that Prop 205, it is not perfect. There are some little bit of flaws or whatever. What can you say about that? Something would you like to improve if you had a chance, or this is just a starting point?
Well, obviously it's just the starting point. That's a really good observation. If I had written the ideal piece of legislation and had it passed today, I'd still have another 10 years of fixing the problems that this bogus prohibition has caused over its 80-year reign. But to your question, Prop 205, I was one of the people who helped write Prop 205. I was political director of an organization called Safer Arizona, and as such, had tremendous input in this. We had a compromise, like all legislation ends up compromise. People say you don't want to see how legislation takes place because it's like mixing sausage. Probably uglier now that I've gone through the process. All that said, the big thing that we don't have in it that I have been working for was something called post-conviction relief, where anyone who had been convicted of cannabis crime would be able to have their record cleared after the laws had changed, because then you had been convicted of something that was no longer against the law.
Yeah.
I believe that we will be able to bring that forward at the state legislature. If Prop 205 should pass, there's going to be a tremendous appetite for kind of correcting some of the injustices Arizona has put on its public with this phony law.
I think, probably we agree. And as I said, guys, this is not about left or right. This is about the basic things for that every human being should at least understand. First of all, is your body. Okay, and I think when they see that, like a government try to tell you what you can do, like, for example, what you can eat, like in New York, when Bloomberg said you cannot have salt in the restaurants, or the size of your sodas. Even I don't drink sodas, I don't care. You should be free to do whatever you want, of course, after when you be able to take care of yourself in case you got diabetes. But regardless, now the situation here, what I really notice, and I think we may agree, it is the big lobby of the private prison system. That's another way that really they're going to lose a lot of money there. What do you think?
I think that is true. We know, there's facts behind that. In California, the number one opposition to legalization in 2010 and again now in 2016 is the prison guard union protecting their jobs. While it's true that the majority of people who get arrested for cannabis charges don't end up in prison, tens of thousands go through our county jails all the time, and you don't even have to go to jail to have an incident with a cop ruin your day.
Yeah. No, I understand. It is true. Go ahead.
With that in mind, think of that guy, Keith Lamont Scott. He was not a black man shot by a white cop. He was shot by a fellow black man who was a police officer. They hadn't gone to look for Keith Lamont Scott. They were pursuing another known criminal. They were going to serve a warrant on a known criminal, but instead, the odor of marijuana drew the attention of the police officers, who decided it was worth ignoring their sworn duty to catch the known criminal to shoot this man who was smoking marijuana.
Oh
That's the extent of the prohibition these days.
Oh, this is so sad. It's true. There are people that have been killed just because suspected to have a plant. And this is like almost for me, as I said before, there is no difference from the Taliban or the moral police, the religious police like in Iran.
Absolutely.
I mean, and as I said, I wish people that normally they consider themselves constitutionalists and, let's say small government, please, this is one of the most important, let's say, cornerstone of freedom. If you really believe in the Constitution, if you really believe in individual rights, like the First Amendment, the Second Amendment, all the other amendments, there is one piece of real estate that no much, I don't care if you're rich or poor or whatever, it's your body. And when you give it away, when you pretty much say, you government, you are my body, it's over. We are slaves. All the rest, it's make no sense to me. That's why I said, even, of course, I'm glad that, by the way, Michael, I don't like marijuana, because I would be in jail every other day. Seriously. I refuse the idea, and I'm speaking for myself, not for you, anybody else, that I should get a piece of paper, a license from the government to grow a plant. I refuse the idea that I should be, treated like a criminal just because in my home I want to enjoy just staring at the plant. Okay? That for me, right. It is insane. It is insane, but we got to educate people. I think that's what you're doing is great. And I say, please, be open, everybody out there. I don't care which party you think you are, left, right, center. This is about a cornerstone of freedom. Now, one thing made me puke.
I'd like to address something that's key and not being discussed in our conversation. Absolutely. The individual freedom is central to the argument of Prop 205. A reduction of government governing a person's lifestyle. But more important for me is that this is an attack on the criminal underground. This law is designed to gut the black market. And we see that in Colorado, for example, the underground economy has been cut into by 60%.
Yeah, no, it makes sense.
That's a huge impact.
Makes sense. And I give you my theory, and of course, I'm just my opinion. I really believe that many politicians in Washington especially, and of course even in local governments, when they try to, let's say, criminalize a plant or a drug in general, okay? I really believe it's not just because it's for the kids. No, it is big money behind. As I said, this
Right.
like during the prohibition, who bonus, who benefits? Was the mafia behind the criminal enterprises? Okay, so the moment that
Yes.
the little grape, the little alcohol, the bottle of wine or whiskey, whatever, goes back to legal. You know what? It takes the value that's supposed to have. It doesn't get a skyrocket markup that normally in everything prohibited will have. So that's why I really believe there's a lot of corruption behind by politicians. They want to act like little saints because they want to take care of our morals. At the end of the day, I really believe they are paid off.
Where I grew up in the southern tip of Texas is a high traffic drug area. Mm-hmm. Not just marijuana, but the cocaine epidemic of the 80s and 90s passed through there in a big, furious way. And in the 1980s, while I was just a regular plumber working man, I got selected for a federal grand jury. Mm-hmm. And every month, we were indicting law enforcement officials for their complicity
mm-hmm.
in the drug trafficking.
Yeah.
1 month, we indicted the sheriff and 5 of his deputies for marijuana transportation.
Wow.
So you are so right when you point out the corruption within the supposed law enforcement.
Yeah.
But to me, the statistics show that we're changing an entire criminal element in our society. Right now, as I mentioned, there's about 100,000 people who have medical cards in the state of Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
And about 30% of those people actually shop in the dispensaries.
Mm-hmm.
Last year, that income, that generated $215 million. So that tells me that the underground economy is over $1 billion.
Yeah.
And they have no respect for law and order. They are after making the dollar, and I think it's time to put an end to that.
I agree. Listen, as I said, please, everybody out there, if we can lead the way in some important, Arizona is a state. State means created by people, humans, or corruptible. A lot of things needs to be fixed. We have some good stuff, but some other stuff really we need to work together, I believe. I don't care left or right. That would be the foundation of freedom, okay? And that's why I'm here.
I would like that to happen. Arizona is currently rated the most corrupt state in the nation.
That's true, unfortunately. The party is a
It is
statistic.
also, just was recently rated, the state with the most irresponsible teenagers. I don't know how they compare these, but I think that 1 equals 2. I think that when you put up hypocrites and false piety as the examples to the youth, you're going to expect rebellion and struggle.
One thing else I want to say, talking about the teenagers, and that's really, I almost was throwing up. I was driving a couple of weeks ago in some part of Navajo County, okay, a small town, and I'm not going to go there into religions, but unfortunately it is connected sometimes to pretty much their mindset, okay, because they do not smoke or they do not drink alcohol. They think that everybody else should follow the same path. And I think that's wrong. But that's the reality. I see these big signs, vote no on Prop 205, do it for the kids, keep our kids safe. What the hell has to do with kids? Kids, for example, right now, we have alcohol and they don't have access to alcohol unless their parents are irresponsible. But there are already laws that you cannot have access to alcohol if you are under 21. And why we should now feel this special guilt trip on the marijuana or any other herb or any other whatever recreational drug. And I think, the same concept to keep the kids safe. If you want to outlaw marijuana, you should also, following the same very distorted logic, you should also outlaw alcohol. Or you also should outlaw cigarettes. That, by the way, I'm not proposing that, but the point is insane. That's what they're now trying to reach out. Don't get me wrong.
You know what? If we were going to take that approach, we could outlaw automobiles for teenagers, because it turns out that drivers from 16 to 21 are the people most likely to get into accidents, including fatalities. So maybe we should make that illegal by that kind of rationale.
Exactly.
It's worth noting that, I work with NORML, which is the National Organization for the Reform of Marijuana Laws. I was reviewing the national press releases over the past month, and I see that the Center for Disease Control reports that teens have reporting a reduced access to marijuana in states that have legalization. A reduced access.
Wow.
Not increased.
Interesting.
And it makes sense because, like, drug dealers don't check your age. Drug dealers don't make sure your medical card is valid.
Yeah, I understand, and it's true. But for me, at this point, even before that's a good topic. I mean, good argument, by the way, or at least a good data. But the point is, we're supposed to be responsible for our own actions, and there are already laws, okay, that a child or a teenager under a certain age cannot have certain things. So we cannot just criminalize everybody else and make everybody else miserable just because that's pure propaganda. That's pure, very low, let's say, kick in the balls. That is pathetic, in my opinion. But this is not just, by the way, when it comes down to the marijuana topic. I also, on the other side, when I hear the gun control crowd, and, maybe we may disagree here, let's do it for the kids, I throw up there too. Okay, that's for me the point.
Yes. No, we're on the same page with that. I think that people who hide their propaganda behind children are suspect at best. Just the whole action of setting up your argument that way makes me question your values.
Another thing, talking about guns.
Let me talk a little bit about the specifics in the bill. I know that your audience is aware that it's essentially a yes or no decision on cannabis legalization, but this isn't the decision about cannabis legalization or about cannabis itself. It's about because cannabis is here. 500,000 Arizonans will have a hit today. So it's here. You can't fix that.
Yeah.
But this is a discussion is how we're going to have it operate in our state. Some of the specifics. People will be allowed to carry a 1 ounce of marijuana with them at any time. At their home, they can have more than that because they're allowed to grow 6 plants every season if they like, and they get to keep the harvest. They can also give that to their friends. They're not allowed to sell. But if you want to make money off of marijuana, there's a whole business opportunity that includes individual licenses for cultivators, manufacturers, testers, transporters. So we're going to take the existing vertical monopoly of the medical marijuana industry and open it up to the general public to see if they can participate. Regular people will have a chance to see if this is the kind of thing they want to get involved in. We're anticipating, seriously, over $1 billion in the industry as a whole, $135 million in tax revenue in the first year of implementation.
Michael,
that's just a gigantic amount.
Let me stop you 1 second. Probably on this one you think I'm kind of a radical, but I tell you exactly, guys, and that's great. Don't get me wrong. It's at least it's a step towards decriminalization, and I'm all with that. But for me, the idea, the government can tell me, now, by the way, you can have 6 plants, but if you have 8 plants, I will toss your ass in jail. I will give you a fine. I'm still laughing at that, okay? I know probably we need to go by step, okay? I'm not trying to be too
Yes, yeah. This is a long range social transition that's been people have been working on it since the early 1960s when medical research first was able to start debunking the myth of reefer madness, the central myth that it had no medicinal value. We've known since then that that lie was a lie, but it's taken a long time to get the truth spread to the public. That's why I was so happy to go on the show.
No, it's a start. But think about the idea, like, the magazine. You can have 10 rounds magazine and you are a good person. If you have 11 rounds, you're going to be a felon. I mean, guys, it's a plant. It is a plant. In the back of my house, I have grapes, okay? And when I go my grapes, I harvest them and I say, if I want, I make wine. And then I drink the wine. And guess what? if I get drunk and drive, I get punished. But I don't do that. I stay in my home and I enjoy my wine. Think about it's exactly the same concept, okay? But I tell you, I'm not going to run out the numbers, but people with alcohol, we're not talking about something really people die, and there is a real addiction. Let's look at numbers with alcoholism. How many people die every year? You have any number out there, Michael? You're pretty good at numbers. How many people die with alcohol abuse during in America?
1,800 people, 21 or under, die of drinking too much alcohol last year.
Wow. And I never heard anybody that with marijuana, right?
No. Part of the reason that it doesn't lead to overdose is you have receptors in each nerve cell to absorb marijuana, are the key ingredients, cannabinoids, except in the nerve cells that regulate your heart and respiration. So you don't even have a way to process too much. It's just not even part of the physiology.
I understand. And, as I said, let's say marijuana was, rat poison, okay? And it is not, of course. At the end of the day, as I said, if that's the choice you want to do with your body, and if you're able to pay the consequences, and you do not endanger anybody else, it is still your right. That's my humble opinion. Now, final thing, when it comes down to gun owners, something really bugs me a lot. That there are people that normally, they are gun owners, and they enjoy marijuana, they have a medical card in Arizona, and then they were trying to buy a gun, and bang, the federal government said, no, you cannot pass the background check. I mean, is this going to...
Let's talk about that for sure. In fact, that's another thing that's... fit in last month's news. A California appellate court upheld a 1968 ruling that cannabis was considered a dangerous drug and had to be kept away from the public. So there's a box on permit when you could do a background check for getting a weapon that you have to check, I am not a user of cannabis or a drug addict, something like that. And having a medical card is considered proof of guilt. And so currently, people in, the 26 states that have some sort of medical program are being prohibited from legally possessing guns. This is an outrage. I'm not a gun owner myself. After I left the military, I left weapons behind. But there's, people have their Second Amendment rights, and we need to protect that. Our only option is going to be to continue to spread the number of states where there is a state form of legalization, whether medical or full adult use. And when we get to about 60% of the population, we'll be able to use the state pressure to force the federal government to change its ways.
Yeah, and that's why I say, gun owners, please have an open mind, because we got to really think out of the box. Many veterans, for example, they really had proof that, especially with post-traumatic stress, have enormous benefits with marijuana. I'm not here to be a doctor. I'm nobody, okay? But I know I have friends that all other medication couldn't do it. And sometimes, as I said, at the end of the day, I think about tomorrow. The federal government can say, all the people who drink wine or all the people who drink beer or alcohol in general, if you check the box here and you admit that, you cannot have a gun. It's exactly the same thing. Nothing different.
Yes.
Simple as that. Listen, Michael, by the way, you're running also for Congress. I would like to give you the floor the last 3 minutes. Give you your website. If you have a website for Prop 205, whatever information you can give out, I will shut up. I'll give you the floor. You're close.
Well, I appreciate that. I am indeed the Democratic nominee for Congressional District 4, which is the western half of the state, including Golden Valley, where Luca and I both live. My obviously number one issue is legalization. I helped write the ballot measure that we're discussing today. Serve as the state director of NORML. So some websites that I'd encourage people to look at is my campaign website.
Hey, you. Yes, I'm talking to you. You deserve a break. Enjoy a moment of indulgence. It's time for Zanna Coffee. guilt-free pleasure. Zanna Coffee is the organic coffee to amplify your senses and enhance love for life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Only the best organic and GMO-free coffee beans from around the world that I selected. Zanna Coffee brings you happiness in every cup. Fair trade certified, sustainable organic coffee. That means we do not use slaves. Free Zanna songs with every coffee bag. Find Zanna Coffee at www.zannacoffee.com. www.zannacoffee.com. Get your coffee bag now. Don't be cheap. Life is too short and you deserve the best. Zanna Coffee. Here we go. We are back. That was Mikel Weisser. By the way, sorry, I apologize. The audio got trunked. Something happened with the line, or at least in the recording. But let me give the website of Mikel Weisser. I don't want that, he thinks that I cut him off, okay? mikelweisser.org. www.mikelweisser.org. And, of course, he's running for Congress. And, of course, you can check him out. And also, you can ask him questions about this Proposition 205. Now, one thing I would like to say about Mikel, I touched a little bit the topic about Hillary Clinton. Of course, the show, first of all, we can talk about everything we want. When I bring you on the show, yes, I give you the topic. Normally, I would like to bring you on. And in this case, the main topic was the legalization of marijuana, or at least Proposition 205. But we have no boundaries. And my opinion is my opinion. Doesn't mean that you need to agree with me. If I say Hillary, she's a criminal, in my opinion, it's me talking. But what really saddened me, it is, when I still see people that, for example, I know where they were standing when was Bush in control, and I was with them, even as a former Republican. I was the first one to, let's say, at least try to expose the fascist of Bush and his New World Order following the pattern of his father and these illegal wars. But now, what really freaks me out, I'm sorry, Michael, don't take it personal, but I'm very disappointed with you when it comes down to this one. You are a Bernie Sanders supporter, okay? And, I don't agree with you. I'm not a Bernie. I'm not a socialist, okay? But that's your belief. That's fine. And I still want you on the show. At least we have something we agree, like the legalization of marijuana. But when it comes down to admitting the Hillary, she's a corrupted, really criminal, in my opinion. And also now she's being supported by the Bush family. They will vote for her. And don't get me wrong, I'm not here to pander for Trump. But the point, very well that Hillary, she's a warmonger, she's a criminal. Forget about Benghazi, forget about the 50,000 emails, forget about that we have here an oligarchy, two families running this country, since the Clintons and the Bush and the Clinton and the Bush. I mean, how can you still pander for this woman that, by the way, she's the biggest fraud? Seriously. Why? Just because she has a donkey on her butt? I mean, that's what really freaks me out, when I see still people completely complying with the party's lines. That's sad, because I don't expect that from people like you, Michael. I know you're a Democrat, you're running for Congress, but be honest, you know very well what this woman, she's been doing. She's a warmonger. Look at Libya. Look how they're pushing Syria. Look what they're trying to accomplish here. This is not exactly the sign piece that you put on your billboards. I mean, if you're for peace, I'm sorry, I'd rather that you do not vote at all. But you cannot support or defend a criminal like this. Can I say bitch? Yes, bitch as a female of a dog. That's what I meant. Okay? And something else. So that's all I'm saying. It's time that we need to stop to follow the orders from both parties and stand for the principles that we believe. Otherwise, really, just we become another little puppy dog. Seriously. I mean, how can you go out if you support Bernie Sanders and you know Hillary, what type of funny Wall Street monster she is? And not because Bernie Sanders is my hero, as I said, he's a socialist, funny, by the way, because he loves his cash, by the way. He cashed out after these elections. He got his money. He bought his new big house out there on the beach, okay? But that's another story. After you know what she really is, especially if you believe in peace and not in illegal wars, and only these, corporations that pretty much they're supporting the global government and the TPP and the destruction of American jobs and sovereignty, how can you go out and defend her? Seriously, how can you do that? How can you do that? That's my point. And I hope other Democrats, I'm not saying that I have all the solutions here. I don't say that I have all the answers, but at least follow integrity. You cannot support a criminal when you know that she's a criminal, not just because she's your woman that the party is trying to impose on you. Please follow your heart, follow your soul. That's all I'm saying. Now, talking about soul, talking about heart, talking about individual liberties. You know, the topic about the legalization of marijuana, is something that for me is very close. Even I do not smoke, I don't touch any drugs. It is not about drugs. It is not about pretty much if it's good or bad for you. It is not about medical. It is about freedom. It's about that who controls, who owns your body, you or the government. That's the bottom line. Because if the government is strong enough, powerful enough to tell you what you can drink, what you can eat, what also you can smoke, in the safety of your home or your environment, when you do not endanger or harm anybody else, when you can afford with your money, that's the government that is called fascism, if they can do that to you. So that's the point. Now, coming to another point from a different angle, seatbelt. Many of you probably wear seatbelts, and sometimes I wear them too. I wear them when I feel like it. That's the bottom line. Why? Because, after all, I'm not harming anybody else. Yes, there is the law. I need to put seatbelt. But guess what? Not because it's a law means that I need to follow it. Because, even Hitler wrote laws. Government can write a law that you need to burn your first newborn. Are you going to follow that? I mean, if you're not endangering anybody else, why you should just submit to God? I mean, to the government, not to your God. So anyway, the situation now I'm going to talk is a guest that I have from east part of Arizona, Navajo County. And he's a interesting guy. I never met him in person, but we've been exchanging emails. And his name is Daniel. And he has something to say about the seatbelt laws. And of course, I will give you my 2 cents too. Okay? This is about individual liberties. It's about individual rights. It's about the government. You are not our God. As simple as that. You're listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom with luca-zanna. Daniel from Navajo County, are you there?
I'm here, Gianluca. How are you?
I'm okay, my friend. And thank you for being with me. And I want to really, I'm interested because I know that we have something in common. At least we share part of our DNA. I'm from Italy, but, you when you were born here, we have you have some ancestors that were from Italy too. So that's kind of interesting. We started to talk about that. But now we're talking about something even more specific that I think belongs to every human being. I don't care where you're from. It's about individual liberties, like who owns our body, us or the government, when it comes down to wearing seat belts. What do you think about that? Should the government have the power and the authority to tell you, to mandate you to wear a seat belt, even if you are not endangering or harming anybody else? What do you think?
I absolutely think that the government should not be telling us what to do on the roads. And in fact, I've done a lot of research on this topic, and what I've found is that actually the way the law is written, it actually doesn't apply to us. But everybody has been going around for, over 50 years now. So we're talking multi-generational, indoctrination of people where they think that the laws apply to them when in specific terms of traffic. Now, of course, the laws apply to everybody, but when I'm talking about traffic. So in my research, when you go through some of these key words, you'll start to find that the definitions of these words in law. Now, I'm not talking about common usage, what we say every day between friends, things like this. I'm talking about in law. It's only for one purpose and one purpose only, and that is for commercial activities on the road. Plain and simple, period.
Yes, and there's a lot of things, you're right, didn't happen yesterday. It's like slowly, they've been, let's say, cooking us like a frog in the cold water, and then it starts to become a little warm, and then we let them go, and let them, like, for example, as I said, people are complaining right now about, or at least some people, many of us, I guess, most of the Americans right now, after they found out what type of fraud Obamacare is and was, they are complaining about Obamacare. How it can be possible that the government can force you to buy something? But guess what? They didn't, complain so much when the government was forcing us to wear a seatbelt or an helmet when there is no justification, really, beside that they want to have the excuse to keep us safe. The bottom line that we allow control of our body. That's the bottom line. So, like the same story on the roads. Now we have to comply with some laws, or at least we should comply. Doesn't mean that I will, but the point is like the seatbelt on the helmet. And by the way, I believe that the helmet can be very important to keep your head together and safe. And I believe that also the safety belt in some situations could be very helpful. But it's up to me to wear it if I want, not the government to give me a fine. So did you have any personal experience, let's say, not wearing a seatbelt and being fined or stopped and, let's say, I don't know, challenging it?
Yes, actually, I'm in a fight now with the court in Texas. I was traveling through Texas, and I got a citation in El Paso, and it was for speeding and for a no-child safety seatbelt for a child. And my experience was, I decided that I was going to take my family on a trip, and we were going to travel, see a little bit of things back east in Texas, Arkansas, things like that. And on my way back in El Paso, I get pulled over by a DPS, and it was something that was quite a sight to see this guy. He bucked up, his chest, went out at me. He started talking to me with this authoritarian speak, and I didn't like it. And the point here that really made me mad was that at one point he threatened to call the Child Protective Services on me to have my child taken.
Wow.
And I don't know if any of your listeners out there, that are parents, it's been moments like those where your parental instinct kicks in, and I was quite upset, as you can imagine, at that moment. So, to make a long story short, I go into the court. I challenge their jurisdiction because, quite frankly, they didn't have it, and the judge then proceeded with the trial without jurisdiction. And I had to appeal. I had to go to county court, which is higher than the lower traffic court that I was in. And the county court actually agreed with me.
Wow.
And they said, yes, the lower court didn't have jurisdiction.
Wow.
And so then about, a week later, 2 weeks later, I get a notice from the DA's office, and it's a notice saying that they're appealing my traffic ticket. Now, I don't know about you or your listeners, but this is the first time I've ever heard of the state appealing a traffic ticket. I must have really gotten under somebody's skin there.
Well, for sure, one thing, if you start to challenge them and if you start to win, or at least to show that you have a position that you may win, or at least you may prove that they are wrong, guess what? You create a very bad precedent. You are a bad slave. You must be smashed. That's the point. You don't want to have another Spartacus out there leading the insurrection. Now, let me give you my 2 cents from, I wasn't there with you, okay? So I don't know what that really happened in the situations. When I say no wearing seat belts, for me means I am over 18. I am in condition to reason, to think, and to be responsible for myself, okay? Now, I don't know exactly if your child was in the hands or the arms of your wife or what situation was. I believe always that the children, at least minors, they should have that type of protection, in my opinion, that, in case there is something happens. When you're 18, you're responsible, you pay the consequence. That's all I know. But maybe your wife was holding the child. I have no idea. All I can tell you, that's my thinking. Now, when it comes down to speed limits, okay, they tell me that you're speeding a little too much, correct?
That's what they said, that I was speeding a little too much, yes.
Yeah, and listen, even there, we know very well that there is a quota, okay? There is a quota, it's proven. Even in Navajo County, we have emails of a former candidate for sheriff that she used to work as a sheriff deputy, and there's a sergeant told her that you must have more tickets because we need money here, okay? That's on writing. So we understand that. At the same time, I also say one thing, I want to be fair and trying to be logical, at least from my point of view. I always say we have rights until we infringe on somebody else's rights. If you are driving way too fast and you can be a danger to others, I believe that's where we throw the line, at least for me. I'm always the idea. I can do whatever I want until I do not harm others. That's the philosophy I have. But as I said, I'm not there. All I know, I'm glad at least you challenge them. And, of course, it freaks me out when I hear somebody that out of the blue, just even let's say you made a mistake, okay? You weren't wearing, your son or your daughter, whoever it was, wasn't wearing the seatbelt for a moment. From there, to try to intimidate you, to call the Child Protective Services, that, by the way, I had shows in the past with other guests. They're like probably worse than this. I don't know, the mafia. I think they have more integrity. These people, they are really the worst of the worst. No due process, and they destroy families. And they got, by the way, they get paid for every child they pretty much confiscate from families. That's what they do. They got federal grants, federal monies, and it's a big way to destroy families and to really, it's like a market for these children. So that freaks me out too. And I hope everything's okay with that side. Did you have any other repercussion because of the type of situation with the seatbelt for your children?
No, I had no other repercussion, although there is one issue that is in question for me, and that is what this officer did with the name of my child. The officer at the time, he demanded that I give over the name, and I refused and told him no.
Wow.
That I am the person that's behind the wheel of the car, and
exactly.
You should only be talking to me.
Yeah.
And this is one of those moments where the guy puffed out his chest, started looking at me, bugging his eyes out, and he said that if I didn't give over the name, then he was going to call the Child Protective Service. So at that point, I have to admit, I got a little scared because I've heard all kinds of stories, and specifically in Texas. I remember there's a little girl that went in, and her family was trying to get her back out, and before they could get her back out, I guess she had passed away because of the horrible care and treatment they gave her. So yeah, I was freaked out when he said that. So I gave him the name of my child, and he entered it into some system, I'm sure.
Wow.
So I don't know what system he entered it into, but maybe in the future, if I can take him to court and go through a discovery process, I can figure that information out.
Well, that's very, very sad. As I said, let's say you made a mistake or whatever, you are behind the wheel. They should take it on you. Now they start to go, and that's, by the way, it's part of the machine. They make money not just with the ticket revenues, but also, of course, as I said, I had in the past few weeks ago this libertarian candidate for the Arizona for the Senate, for the U.S. Senate. And she's very much informed about what type of dangers and how much out of control, and there is no check balance, there is no due process. When it comes down to this, the Child Protective Services, they go way beyond the limits of any type of due process. Just because of suspicious, just because somebody rats you out without foundations, they can show up at your door and they can get your kids, and then you have to fight all the way back. Meanwhile, 6 months before you get them back if you like it. And that's why it really scares me out. And I'm telling you, but this is part of what we are facing right now, I believe, not just as Americans, as humanity. I live in Arizona too, and I'll tell you a little bit about what happened to me with the seatbelts. I got pulled over a few times. Normally, by the way, I never had a ticket, just to let you know. In 18 years I've been in this country. I want to be sure everybody out there listen. This is not like somebody that a rebel or try to drive like a crazy. I am probably the most boring, probably not even a grandmother would drive like I do. If they say 65, I go 64. But you know why? Because I don't want to interact with you. Seriously. I think law enforcement, they should have better things to do than stop me and talk to me. They have real criminals out there to deal. So I don't want to give them the opportunity and wasting their time. So I follow their basic, let's say, speed limits. And I try always to be cordial and good on the road. But I never wear the seatbelt unless I want to. One time I got pulled just on the highway, on the 40, and I was going that time, probably I was a little tired. I was going 8 miles more than I supposed to go, something like that. Anyways, this DPS pulled me over, and they say, by the way, you're going a little too fast. Say, oh, I'm sorry. And I said, seriously, officer, I never had a ticket. If you can give me a break, I appreciate it. And the guy was cool, I must tell you. At that time, I had a good experience, really. And he checked me out. He said, yeah, you're okay, no problem. And by the way, you're not wearing seatbelts. I said, yes, I know that. Why don't you do that? And I said, it's against my religious belief. So what do you mean? The guy was kind of almost fascinated because I said, wow, you already speak like with an accent. Now you're talking about you don't want to wear a seatbelt because of religious belief. I don't know. I think he had probably some time to spare, and he asked me why. I can give you a ticket. I said, okay, sir, if you want to, it's up to you, but I'm not going to wear a seatbelt because it's against my First Amendment, my freedom of religion. And I gave him the short story. The short story is this one, and I want to talk to every officer out there. Hopefully you understand. The moment that I wear a seatbelt against my will, just because of fear of repercussion by the government, especially when I meet the condition that I'm not harming anybody else. It is my body, and I made a decision. I'm over 18, that if that's the way I want to do it, that's the way I want to do it. I'm responsible for myself. I can pay for my own insurance, and that's pretty much the way I want to do it. So I'm not harming anybody else, and the bottom line is, if I submit to the government at that point, means the government become before my God, number one. Number two, I give you also the second twist. The twist is, according to my God, if I die while I'm wearing the seatbelt, my soul is going to get entrapped. That's what I told him. I'm not going to heaven. You may laugh at me or not, but that's my religion. The officer said, have a wonderful day, Mr. Zanna. Enjoy your day. And that was great. Honestly, I couldn't believe it. I was hoping I was not going to get tased after all the little speech I gave him. But the bottom line was, that's the way it should be. If we do not harm others, we should not be forced to submit ourselves to laws like the seatbelt. What do you think? I'm a little bit out of to lunch with this First Amendment religion stuff with the seatbelts, or maybe I got something going on. Daniel?
No, Gianluca, I think you're exactly right on. And in fact, let me go back to what I was saying in the beginning on commercial traffic, just so your listeners can have a little bit more clarity on what I meant about that. So when you enter a courtroom, everybody has to realize that when they go in there, they're almost like entering another culture or almost like another country. But of course, it's the United States, but everything is different in the language there. Mm-hmm. Okay, there's a law dictionary, and then there's Webster's dictionary. And when you go in there and you say some of these things, it automatically puts you into the system, and it puts you in a place where they have you. So some of the terms that I want people to look into is things like these, like traffic, transportation, vehicle, motor vehicle, driver, operate. Those are just a few. Of course, there's more. There's always more. But those words are some words that will get us into trouble because we go in there using those terms thinking that we know what it means in law when we don't. Mm-hmm. There's an example of this I'd like to read. This is the definition of the term motor vehicle, and this was taken from the Florida statutes from back in 1931. Okay. So quite a while ago.
Go ahead.
So what it says here is it says the term motor vehicle shall include all vehicles or machines propelled by any power other than muscular used upon the public highways, but not over fixed rails, for the transportation of persons or property for compensation, either as common carriers, private contract carriers, or for hire carriers. Now, if you notice at the end there, it said for compensation, either as common carriers, private contract carriers, or for hire carriers. So it was very clear back in those days that the term motor vehicle meant commercial activity, period. What do you think about that, Gianluca?
I think you're right. And this is a lot, by the way, another thing I was studying the last few years, there are the definition also of driving with a driver license applies, according to the research and also I found, to commercial vehicles. But now we are all commercial technically. We all have to do our registration, okay, and driver license. But this is exactly the point. They are right now putting us under a corporate and no more, as you said, as a Webster dictionary, but it's a legal dictionary. For example, let me give you a short example. Yesterday, I was driving here in Golden Valley on Highway 68. I'm going toward Kingman, okay? And I have a big, not big, it's like a Ford truck with a truck box, but it's personal. It is in my name. It is not for any business. It's just my personal truck. I enjoy it. I like it. It's yellow, and that's it. It looks like almost one of these truck rider, okay? So I passed one of the checkpoints for the ADOT. They stop all these commercial vehicles. And, of course, I don't stop because I never stop there because I'm not commercial, okay? But guess what? 5 minutes after I pass it, I see like these flashing lights behind me that freak me out. It was this white and black car for ADOT yelling and screaming behind me and waving like I was, oh, my God, I thought I was chasing somebody. So I pulled myself on the right to let them go. I didn't realize they were coming for me. So, okay, I stop. I never interact with one of these people. I even didn't know they can stop me. But guess what? The guy was, first of all, really venting. Came out of his car. And I don't want to pass judgments how you look. But, unfortunately, there's a profile. You're bald. I don't think, probably because he likes to look like a macho guy. I don't know. Maybe he got too much hormones. Maybe he got too much steroids. But he was all venting. He has the complex little bit of the short guy. And he was pretty much holding his hand on a gun almost. So what the heck? It's supposed to be, commercial car enforcement or whatever. First of all, I say, how can I help you, officer? You're commercial. Why you didn't stop? No, first of all, please, sir, calm down. I said, I'm not commercial. And that's why I don't stop. But even if I was commercial, I didn't kill anybody. Okay? So if you want to talk to me, that's fine. Let's have a conversation. Tell me what you need. And the guy couldn't believe I was talking to him like that. Say, show me your registration. Okay. Not even the driver license, anything. It's straight for the registration. So to get the registration, by the way, funny thing, I had to move, and I posted my photo on Facebook about it. I had, always with me my rifle on the side, an AK-47 loaded, and I had my vest with 12 magazines probably about, and I had to move it because I had to get my little box to get my little registration. He didn't care about anything else. He just wanted the registration. He opened the registration, and when he said that I am not commercial, okay, you can go now. Say, okay, maybe you could tell me, have a good day, sir, or something like that. Why you had to do like this? Seriously, like a machine. Just because I was feeding in the commercial lingo, they think they can have ownership over me.
You're listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom with luca-zanna on United States.fm network. You're listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom with luca-zanna on United States.fm network.
Here we go, guys and girls. You're listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom on KTOX 1340 AM in our United States to the FM network. Second hour, the hour about guns. I tell you, the show, it really, I don't know, it makes me feel horny. What do you mean? Are you crazy? No, I'm not. I talk about topics here that I really enjoy. It is a pleasure for the mind and for the body. It's so beautiful. I feel so blessed to be on the air, and I can talk about things that I love the most. Freedom, love, guns. And of course now we talk about guns. And remember, guns is not just a piece of metal. Maybe for some could be, let's say, a hobby or some sort of a tool. Yes, it is. Technically, it's a thing, For me, it's a symbol of freedom. Maybe for some of you, you were born here. You don't really maybe, appreciate it enough. I was born in freaking Italy, in Europe, where it doesn't exist the Bill of Rights. It doesn't exist the Second Amendment. And I never really forget that. I live here in the greatest state of the world when it comes down to gun rights, at least one of the best, let's put it this way, Arizona. Don't get me wrong, it's not perfect. Arizona has a lot of things I would like to improve and change. We were talking before, during the first hour, about decriminalization of drugs and other things, but that's another story. Now, when it comes down to guns, it's like heaven. Last Sunday, I wasn't on the show. Probably you heard on the internet, also on the radio, the rebroadcast of a past show. Guess where I was? I was at the gun show in Kingman. I tell you, I love guns show, especially in Arizona. Why? Because it really reminds me even more how different it is, this place, from any other place in the world. I mean, first of all, there is not much BS. You can rent a table. Like, not much all this background checks, permit stuff. You just paid your freaking table and you got your table. And hopefully you got something good to offer to people. And it's called free market. A lot of people out there, a lot of people want to offer something, a lot of people would like to buy something. This is not like the government, though. Nobody's forcing you to buy anything. You sell only if you got something worth it. A product or a service. That's it. I like that. I like to offer good stuff. I like to be competitive. I like to trade. I like to buy. I like to sell. For God's sake, that's the spirit of America. And I tell you, in this small little gun show, even in Little Kingman, nothing fancy, I really felt that's what I think used to be, and it is still, the spirit of America. To be free to trade, to be free to commerce, to exchange, to buy, to sell. Anyway, what happens to this gun show? It was my first gun show as a vendor, okay? Normally I used to go there just as a, I don't even go shopping normally at gun shows because I buy my stuff normally from the internet. But, this time was different. I had some products I wanted to share. And more important, I wanted to have an opportunity with some of my listeners, and also you guys, you, my listeners, to meet in public. So I want to first of all, thank you to everybody who came. And I have a guy, for example, who came all the way from Pahrump, Nevada. I'm very humble. Thank you for stopping by at my stand. I really appreciate it. I don't think I'm worth it, but I do appreciate you coming by, my friend, all the way from Pahrump to visit me. And by the way, you also bought a bag of coffee. That was really nice. Thank you. So all I want to say, share my experience. What happened to this Kingman Gun show? First of all, it was kind of interesting because, times are tough. The economy sucks. Yes, whatever you listen on the news and the numbers, they're doing great. The economy is doing great. Guess what? If you're Wall Street, yes, you're doing great. If you're a regular slob like us, a working man, no, you are really in a bad situation. We are reaching the bottom. Don't forget what's happening. It is not a conspiracy, okay? Do I need to tell you that the fact that we have $20 trillion in debt, and more important, after all this bleeding of Obamacare, people lost, thousands of dollars at the end of the year. I mean, jobs are being cut. I don't want to go there. This is not the hour about that. But the point is, times are tough. So at the gun show, what happened? You realize that people are looking for the $10, the $20. But somehow I was blessed, I was telling you, to have two products that I really did very, very well. First of all was, of course, the Freedom Rifle. They don't trade on us. My concept rifle. I had an incredible response. I mean, even when everybody was broke and everybody was tight with money, they wanted to get this freaking don't trade on us rifle. And I don't blame him. I mean, this is the most affordable rifle on the market. And it's the quality. People could touch it. They could see it. I mean, it is not just something you imagine. You can see the details. So for $499 to have a complete AR-15 chamber in 223 Wild that shoots 5.56 NATO and shoots also 223, and it shoots also very well steel case cheap ammo. It comes complete with a rear sight, a magazine, T-shirt, Constitution, ebook, How to Become a Rifleman. Then you get, my gosh, you get also the Don't Trade on Us CD downloadable. I mean, and more important, you get the customer service after. People couldn't believe it. When I told them, by the way, I don't want to just give you a rifle. I want to you become a rifleman. So everybody who buys the rifle, I want to go to the range with them. That's my love. I want to go to the range and we shoot a rifle together, okay? And I want you ask me questions to be sure that rifle performs the way it's supposed to, okay? That's the idea. So anyway, that was really positive. I had a lot of great responses, and all I can say right now here on the show, I was very happy. And of course, my job is to send you to local gun dealers that they work with me, okay? Remember, this is the concept rifle. You buy the upper, don't trade on us, created by myself under my design. It's also, by the way, is under laser engraved. It works great with the lower by Plum Crazy Generation 2. And that's all I can say. You go to www.freedomrifle.com. You can watch the videos, and you can also find the dealers. For example, if you're in Havasu, there is the Havasu Guns. They sold a lot of these rifles, and I'm very happy because, this is about really sharing the wealth. That's the way I like it. We create wealth. We create the products that people are happy to buy it. That's the point. That's what is free market. There's always surplus. There's always some surplus value. You get more than you expect. That's the idea. So anyway, please go to freedomrifle.com. You can also see, by the way, in Kingman, there is also Shots, another gun shop. And there is also one, of course, in Golden Valley. And more important, you go to freedomrifle.com. And if you're out of state, just send me an email. And I'll tell you how you can receive the rifle if you live in a state that is still has some sort of resemblance of America. If you're in California, I got a lot of people calling from California. I'm sorry, guys. All I can send you is a T-shirt. Don't trade on us rifle T-shirt. That's it. You can't even get the pistol grip, okay? I'm sorry. Talk to your legislators. Start the revolution, but nothing I can do. Anyway, so that's the story. So that was very beautiful, The Freedom Rifle was great. It was great. And then another beautiful thing was the smoke grenades. Enola Gay smoke grenades. I'm telling you, I love this product. I did a video, by the way, that I posted on Facebook, and also you can go to the website, by the way. I put out a redirecting link to the main website. It's called freesmokegrenades.com. By the way, you can get a special. You buy 10 grenades and you get one free. Why I like these smoke grenades? First of all, the incredible quality. Enola Gay is a company from England. They got this done right. They got the incredible quality smoke grenade with a letter approved by ATF, our friends there, that it's legal for civilian. And you have the same type of output, pretty much, of a military smoke grenade. That's what I like. And the beautiful thing is there are a lot of purposes you can use them. Sometimes, we just focus on the shooting part, and that's great. Shooting is very important, but logic is more important, strategy, and extra tools. It is not just about shooting. Sometimes it's very important, it's communication. You need to communicate. And of course, you can communicate with the hands, you can communicate with the sounds, you can communicate, of course, with the radios. But sometimes a color communication can be very important for your type of strategy you have. You can create your own codes. So, like I have become an official dealer. I'm very happy about it. And you have pretty much almost every color, from black, white, purple, green, blue, orange, red. It's amazing. And you can create very much a code for your group. Now, another purpose of the grenades, of course, is not just to communicate, but in case you need to have some sort of, let's say, concealment, okay? Let's say somebody's shooting at you. You need to evacuate. You need to create some sort of a diversion, more important, an area that if you're in open space, you want to try to at least not be a duck in plain sight. So I think it's really important. I mean, I did this little YouTube video just a few days ago. As I said, you can go to look at freesmokegrenades.com, and you can see how powerful these grenades are. We're talking about 90,000 cubic feet at least of smoke generated in about 45 seconds. 90,000 cubic feet. And the beautiful thing about these smoke grenades are completely cold burn. That means differently from the military, that they burn your hand. This one, you can hold them in your hand. They're not burning your hand. So anyway, that's all I'm saying. They are very interesting. And also, if you want to look at the fun part, let's say you have a party. Let's say you have, I don't know, you like to do maybe mountain bikes or skateboard. I don't know, any type of idea. Even, of course, airsoft, paintball. I mean, think about how fun can be. And they're not toxic. That's another important thing. I mean, you can get cheaper smoke grenades out there that, unfortunately, they are toxic, okay? So that's the bottom line. So, and also another beautiful thing, if you are local here in Navajo County, you're kind of lucky. Because the problem with these smoke grenades are shipping. You need to have hazmat special shipping. Hazmat, it is not something I made up. Unfortunately, it's a rule that you need to go through when you ship those type of objects. So they cost about $30 just for the hazmat, for box, before even the shipping. Doesn't matter if you buy one grenade or 25 or 50, they still charge you $30 plus shipping. So you see how the cost can go up. If you're local, guess what? You can go buy the grenades through one of my stores that, of course, I supply. And more important, if you meet me at gun shows, or let's say if you are part of a group, like let's say you play paintball, airsoft, militia, whatever, I can give you wholesale prices. And if you are between the area, Golden Valley, Kingman Gun, I also give you free delivery. We already have several customers out there. And the beautiful thing, you save on the shipping. You can get wholesale prices. So that's the point. Contact me. And in this way also what you do, you support this show. It's always a win-win situation. It's a free market situation. I'll give you a great product for a great price, and you help this show to be free. That's the idea. So that's about the smoke grenades. Now, other things at the gun show that I enjoy, of course, was the opportunity to go there, trade, buy a gun without any type of paperwork. I love it. People say, oh, that's how criminals get guns. Guess what? Criminals already get guns on the black market, on the streets. Okay? That's what it's about. As law-abiding citizens, we have the right to buy weapons. And I really believe that it's our right also to keep it private from the government. Okay? Every time you have a registry, every time you have some sort of a database, that's where you are on the list. And that's where you are, of course, potentially being persecuted, confiscated your guns. Now, people may say, I don't care what really people say, but the bottom line is, it's your right. Criminals will always have guns, okay? So I think it's right to be private. And don't get me wrong, you're talking about somebody that I bought most of my guns through gun dealers, even when I could buy them privately in Arizona. I bought them for a choice because, I got great deals through different websites and I could do payments and blah, blah, blah. And at the end of the day, let's be fair. I have a show here called Love, Guns, and Freedom. I'm not exactly flying low. I'm not exactly anonymous, so I don't give a damn. The government already knows that I am into guns. And when I bought my first few guns, it was already too late. But the beautiful thing about gun shows, you can still buy some guns privately. At least in the state of Arizona. All you have to do is show your ID. You're an Arizona resident. You can create also a private bill of sale and go with God and buy whatever you want. I really love it. So anyway, it was an incredible experience. I love it. I did very well. I thank God and I thank your support. That's all I want to say. And I hope to do more. I want to go to more shows. And also I want to say, thank you for the coffee. Many people, tough with money right now, can't buy much stuff, but guess what? They bought a bag of coffee, and I appreciate it. That was really thoughtful of you. I know you do also to support my show, and I appreciate it. And in case you just miss it, I wanted just to say you can go to www.zannacoffee.com. Now, let's go back to more gun stuff. A lot of news, a lot of information. I have something very disturbing to share before we go into more ideas with guns and deals. You know, this is about, normally we talk about strictly about training guns, but there is a point that I really want to give you probably the final motivation, my final conspiracy theory, why we really need now, more than ever, every law-abiding person, American person here in this country. And even if you're not an American yet, even if you're an immigrant, like when I was an immigrant in the process, we need you. If you believe in this Constitution, if you believe in the Republic, we need you. We need your help. We need people, honestly, from around the world who wants to become Americans, and they want to do it according to our real foundation, our real ideals of America. And don't get me wrong, nothing's perfect, but what we had here, this experiment called these United States of America, nobody else ever had it. Our Constitution may not be perfect, but it's the best document humanity ever had to contain the government. The Bill of Rights is something nobody else had like we have it. Seriously. And I've been around the world, and I come from Europe. I can tell you that. The Declaration of Independence is something that is worth dying for to defend it. So we are here now at this crossroad of history where I really believe we need everybody. I don't care if you're gay, if you're straight, if you're transsexual. I don't care if you're a woman, if you're whatever you are. If you're an immigrant in the middle of becoming American, if you love freedom, if you love the idea of what our founding fathers fought and died for, and you want to become part of it, we need you. As I said, the first weapon we need, it is our information, our brain. That's the weapon. Your brain is the most powerful weapon everybody could have. Of course, then we have tools like extensions to our will, to our brain. I always say the rifle for me, it is just an extension of my soul to defend my freedom. The rifle is, in the wrong hands is nothing. You can give a $5,000 rifle to an idiot out there. All you do is probably, you waste $5,000. You better go to the bar with that money. If you don't have your heart, your brain together, it's a waste. Your will, your mindset. But of course, we have also now this technology. A few hundred years ago, they had the musket or they had the black powder. Now we have, thank God, a little better tools. So we need to train whatever we have. Now, and I give you now my short story. I'll give you first a little break, and I go in a topic that I hope is not going to disturb you. You can think about me, I'm crazy, I don't care. I'm really concerned about what's happening right now to this country. This is no more about something that is going to happen. It is happening. In World War II, when Japan was allowed, by the way, to attack Pearl Harbor, wasn't an accident. We know very well, FDR knew it. They knocked down the raiders. It was just a part of the plan to let America go into World War II. But regardless, the average American would never imagine that there was an attack on our soil like that. Guess what? I really believe we are next now, but this is going to be much bigger. And this is what's going to happen here right now. It is not just something because, oh my gosh, out of the blue they're coming after us. No. And I'll tell you now my final theory. I really believe that we have the biggest traitors, the biggest enemies. They are sitting right now in the highest position of power, in the White House, in Congress, and they already sold us out. And the plan is to destroy America from within. The plan is to pretty much putting us in a situation that we cannot win, losing the moral advantage, first of all, destroying us morally, economically, and of course then completely letting us be occupied. And that's why this hour now, probably may be right now the most important topic we're going to talk, why we must have a rifle, at least, and knowledge, and training. Because nobody else is going to save us. There is no Captain American out there. Not going to be the Avengers. Not going to be Iron Man. It's going to be us. We the people, united, Sometimes we may disagree. Sometimes we may not believe on the same stuff. I don't care. If you believe that we want to stay free, we want to defend our republic from all enemies, foreign and domestic, we all have rights, and government doesn't give us those rights. Government is supposed to work for us. I call you my brother and my sister. I don't care what type of people you are, okay? Seriously. Don't care about your color. I don't care about if you are black, white, orange, or between. I don't care if you're gay, straight, a mix, whatever. It's none of my freaking business. All I care is that you love freedom and you love to defend our nation from all enemies, foreign and domestic. And that's what we are facing right now. And I'll prove my case right now after this break. Maybe I'm wrong. And if I'm wrong, guess what? I'm so happy. I'm not here to be right. I pray to be wrong. Sometimes I have nightmares at night, and I always say, I hope that I'm just freaking crazy. I hope that last night I ate too much pasta, and that's why I'm having all these thoughts and these bad dreams and nightmares. But unfortunately, I just look at this like a puzzle, and I will bring it to you right now, all these different pieces. Now you put them together, use analytic mind. I used to do analysis. I used to pretty much. I still do. That's what I like to do. I like to study. I like to look at the big picture. I like to look at the big final picture, but you need to look at the all small little puzzles. And then you look at history. And that's why I love history, because nowadays new, all repeating. And you look also at statistics. And then you look at reality. And what really happened, what's happening, and what may happen. Of course, at the end is always, there's a little variable. We don't know for sure. But then you look into statistics and you start to say, oh my God, I hope I'm wrong. So just let's play 1 second this song. Now you go with my final conspiracy. What I really believe is happening, it's going to happen to America in the next few months. Maybe even less. And if I'm wrong, please, don't think I'm going to be mad. I'm going to be so freaking happy you have no idea. Seriously. So anyway, now a little song I wrote a few years ago, The Enemy is Within. Probably never more than now. I don't know if it's the right English, probably it's not, but whatever. It is the right song for the time. The Enemy is Within. Music and lyrics by luca-zanna. By the way, if you want to support the show, you can download these songs. Go to zanna.us. You can buy them on Amazon. You can buy on iTunes. You can go to CD Baby. 99 cents. And you really support the show. Okay, and then we go with my final conspiracy. And then you really realize why, if you don't have a rifle now yet, you better start to get your rifle and some training and start to talk to you, yourself, your God, your family, and be ready, because you're going to be the last line of defense against the final evil that this country is going to face very soon. Don't go away. You're listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom with luca-zanna.
Trying to kill, they eat off this plate, but all they feel is just hate. They hide in the dark, from within they attack. The enemy's within. They look like just you and me. The enemy. Change our creeds. They swear on something they don't believe, and they want to we're not afraid of you, because in God we trust. For America, we are ready to fight. For America, we are ready to die. Don't tread on us.
Do you want social justice? Now I give you social justice. The Zanna way. Don't trade on us. The Freedom Rifle by Zanna. The most affordable military-grade semi-automatic AR-15 rifle in M4 configuration, chambered in 223 Wild, that can shoot both 5.56 NATO and 223 Remington. 4 minutes of angle for just $499, made in the USA. Get your Freedom Rifle now. We need every law-abiding American armed with knowledge and at least one military rifle, ready to defend good against evil. With every Don't Trade on Us rifle, you will get free parchment replica of the United States Constitution, free digital CD, Don't Trade on Us, free ebook, How to Become a Rifleman, free t-shirt, Slaves Are Never Armed, I Am Not a Slave, free 30 rounds magazine where allowed by the law, free laser engraved ejection port, Don't Trade on Us, for just $499. Go to www.freedomrifle.com, www.freedomrifle.com. Get your Freedom Rifle now. Here we go. Back, you're listening to Love Guns and Freedom, or luca-zanna. And I'm ready with my big conspiracy. Before we start, though, I want to share with you a little thing that I realized that is helping me out a lot, even with my health. That normally I think I'm pretty good. Honestly, I'm feeling incredibly well lately. I don't know if it's my Protandem, if it's my Zanna coffee, or just the desire to live and to do everything I can to use this time that I was given on this planet. I want to use it fully. And I'm excited every morning I wake up, even when times are tough, even when you have a lot of things, now property taxes and bills and crap and Hillary and Obama. I don't care. I get up in the morning, I'm excited, I want to fight back. Lately, I'm telling you, I'm feeling like my testosterone levels to a new level. And I know this is what it has to do with guns. Nothing. But let me share with you something. Something's going on. I think this is connected to, I'm not trying to be a show-off or because I'm trying to get a date or stuff like that. This is connected to the times we are facing right now. In history, when the tribes or the humans in general were ready for battles, in some of them there was the reaction. Levels of testosterone go up. Why? For many reasons. It's part of your natural instinct to survive, natural instinct to win, or at least to fight. Your body has some mechanism that probably we don't know. All I know that start to unleash these hormones that they give you the edge to try to survive the violent encounter. And it's like almost a premonition, I smell that something's happening, and now that's going to be connected what I'm going to tell you right now. And then, of course, there is another side. It's not even about the battle part or the war part or the warrior part. I think it's mostly like the instinct to survive of your DNA. Yes, you ever seen the stories in the movies, even in the movies, but when, the Greeks before go to battle, the Romans before go to a war campaign, the night before the war, what do? They always make love. And not because they want to be ornery or things like that. It's just a way to leave behind their DNA. In case something happens, they die. They will have a son or a daughter to continue their DNA. I believe that's a natural instinct. So I'm not trying to tell you what I do in my private life. That's none of your business. But the point is, all I'm trying to do, I believe that we are facing a moment in humanity in general, and in America, of course, that we never seen before, at least in these countries, for many, many hundreds of years, at least since the Revolutionary War, maybe the Civil War. Something's happening right now. It's going to be worse, though. I really believe that this is not going to be just an internal war. It's going to be some sort of a an invasion under the pretenses of humanitarian things. And also it's going to be a war between nations, created, planned by Manchurian candidates in our government to put us in a situation to lose. At least what they think. So that's my conspiracy, and now I'll tell you the details. Let's start. But before I start, I was going to tell you something about my new drink. No, it is no wine. No, it is not my Zanna coffee, that, by the way, I love it. It is something simple, new, that I really enjoy it and gives me a lot of boost, I found out. It is pure water. Try to get water not from the faucet, full of this chlorine and crap like that. Get good water, not from plastic. Get it from glass bottles, or maybe use your purifier. Again, pure water plus 1 squeezed lemon plus, let's say, half or less teaspoon of baking soda. Use the best brand you can get. Okay, don't use the one to clean the toilets. Okay, try to get good stuff. Mix it up twice a day. You will see how much better you feel. And especially if you drink a lot of coffees like I do, it also alkalines, I think it's right English, I guess, alkalines your body level. It's amazing. I really enjoy it. Anyway, now let's go back to my freaky conspiracy theory. Okay, we know, at least some of us know, I don't know about the zombies who still support the son of a Kenyan, called Obama, that we've been completely sold out to the New World Order. And by the way, this is, as I said, didn't happen with just Obama. You know, I blame Bush and I blame Clinton before, and this has been a long process. And it didn't start even the last 50 years. 1913, we know very well, President Wilson sold us out to an entity called the Private Federal Reserve. But for sure, the last 8 years, if you look what happened with this devil sitting at the White House, let's look at facts, okay? This is not politically. I'm not Republican. I'm not Democrat. I'm just trying to look at facts as a human being, as an American. And then if you want to play the Democratic political party card, I'm so sorry. You still defend this warmonger, I'm so sorry. Everybody knows, okay? At least everybody should know that you cannot spend more than you have, especially to a level like this, when you don't even... Every dollar that we spend is a dollar of debt. Debt. We are now $20 trillion in debt since Obama took over, more than double what we used to have. The point is, I don't care which party you are. This is out of control. Without even counting other type of debts that we have. I mean, how you want to talk about $38 billion to Israel? When we have schools rotting, we have hospitals rotting, we have Americans like you will listen now in the final hour, they don't even have a bottle of water when they're stranded on the street and they are living on the streets. Seriously. And that's just a little bit of pea in the ocean, $38 billion just to Israel, and then to Egypt, and then to Palestine, to every other country they want. This guy... It's just a face, we know that. But the point is the one that somehow, even is supposed not to, because Congress is supposed to have the power of the purse, this guy is completely breaking us down, completely cranking out our credit cards to a new levels. So let's put it in this way. That's a fact. It's not a conspiracy. Obama is bankrupting us. He's bankrupting economically America. That's a fact. China owes on us by the balls, completely. So, number one, this is I give you the pieces of the puzzle, okay? Now I tell you where we're going to. They are racking our credit cards like no tomorrow. Everything they can spend. Look at his vacation. Look at everything he can do. More, and more. Iran, how many billions of dollars he gave him to Iran? It's insane. No, he's not insane. He knows what he's doing. He's evil. So, number one, we are broke. Number two, we are also morally broke. Don't get me wrong, America is like made by human beings, so never been perfect, you know. Sometimes there are people that are corruptible, and all humans are corruptible. But, you know, in all history, all countries have been corruptibles. All countries have been somehow have their own moments of whenever they get power, they want to get more power. It's normal. I don't condone it, but that's the way humanity is. But for sure, Mr. Nobel Prize, this piece of trash, acting like a peace-loving kumbaya, this guy is more warmonger than many other bastards we had before. Not only that, he's putting us in new wars. And as I said before in the first hour, I feel so sorry for the Democrats. They were somehow justly criticizing Bush when he was doing all these illegal wars. And now they're silent and they're defending the same type of behavior like Hillary Clinton that is doing, like Obama what is doing, that is the same, if no worse than Bush. So my point is, Obama right now is also morally bankrupting us, starting to involving us in deals, in wars that they are not our business. You want to remind about Libya? What we had to do to Libya? Of course, Hillary said, we came, we won, and he died. How can you vote for her, any of you Democrats, for such a bloody... I don't want to use words that I can sleep because this is still an FCC radio, okay? So God help me if I can control myself. This bloodsucker, this evil bitch, okay? And you vote for her? Come on. Mikel Weisser, you are supposed to be for the peace-loving sign. How can you vote for that whore, for God's sake? For warmonger whore. And any other Democrat will vote for the woman. I don't care if you vote for Donald Duck. Rather you vote for Donald Duck. Forget about Trump. I don't care. But you cannot vote for Hillary. They are bringing us into World War III. That's my point. Because if you look now, Egypt, China. We go into Russia to mind in Georgia their business. We go to China in the South Sea, minding their business. We destroy a country like Libya. We are bombing the crap out of Syria. We have no business. At the same time, Russia, of course, is there. Think about it. Pretty scary. And China is there. By the way, we know very well, unless you're a complete zombie, that this administration is being funding and financing ISIS, of course, to destabilize the area of Syria. And then they supposedly went out of control. This is not all part of the control. So that's my point. We are losing the moral ground. You know what happens when you lose the moral ground, you go to war? Guess what? You are the bad guy. When you're the bad guy, you lose the war. You become a slave. Look at Japan. Look at Germany. Look at Italy. Still have bases. Never gonna go away. Now let me tell you where we're going to this point. Meanwhile, the Kenyan at the White House, the Marxist Kenya at the White House, I don't care what Trump says. For me, this guy never shows our real birth certificate, and you can laugh at me all you want. I'm never going to apologize about it. This guy was born from a British subject from Kenya. Right there. He has no business to be a president. But more important, we know we don't have any proof. But regardless, let's go forward that now. Obama has been reducing our military to a record minimum since the level of pre-World War II. Pretty scary. Because, it's not like acting like Switzerland, minding our business, being peaceful, trading, and just right. No, this guy is acting like an imperial president, mingling every nation he can, creating and destroying nations. At the same time, we don't have anymore, even, the structure to support this bully temperament, this bully behavior. So we are to a record level, low. Now the important thing, Obama also purged our military of our top brass. In the last 5 years, probably, I don't know, more than 200 generals that have been completely fired. All the top brass who did not pledge allegiance to Obama and his ideals, and there was some sort of a threat, they were gone. They are gone. That's called a purge. Very scary. Because right now, these people, they were pretty much the people that the country, even if they work for the military-industrial complex, but they were the people somehow that could be a threat to an imperial president, and maybe they had a chance to win a war. Okay? Let me tell you where I'm going to. 1 second, let me finish drinking. So we got the purge. We are broke. We have our military to a record minimum. Meanwhile, also, Obama is lowering our nuclear defenses unilaterally. It's not like you say, okay, you, Russia, remove something, no, China. No. Everybody is cranking up their nuclear armament, and we are going to a lowest level ever. Because Obama says so. That's treason. That's treason. Then, let me play this one, because I need to start to play some audio here. Meanwhile, by the way, all this information I'm giving you, they are not just my opinions. You can go and Google some of the keywords, and you'll find out all this is backed by facts, okay? This is very important. Well, let me listen to you. Play this one.
It's my last lecture, actually. Yeah. After my election, I have more flexibility. Yeah. I understand. I transmit this information to Vladimir and Alexander.
Okay, that was Obama just before the election saying, this is my last elections, to this sidekick of Putin, okay? Russian president, is his assistant, first minister, whatever it was. Anyway, so after my last election, after the election, I will have more flexibility. Talking about like bodies almost. Now, we know very well that communism never died. It's an illusion. I believe that it's been growing, and the fall of East Europe and Russia was just a farce, was just a way to lower our defenses. The bankers are behind, by the way, communism. We know very well. Created and funded it. And they will use it to destroy the rest of us. So anyway, I believe that Russia in this way is somehow working with Obama, like China, like Cuba. They need a Manchurian candidate like this bastard sitting at the White House right now to sell us out. All this story with Georgia, the state, in Russia, and Obama minding not our business, but intruding in the Russian local situation with Georgia and all the different war areas and Syria. It is not by accident. It's almost like a wrestling match. Bottom line, they are provoking. Obama is creating this situation to go and mind their business, going to their face, provoking Russia, provoking China, going to the South Sea with all fleet, completely at the same time neutering us, castrating us militarily. So we're not going to have the type of edge to even be able to defend and to win a war if we have to. And meanwhile, also, we have Michelle Obama a couple of years ago went to China without the reporters. We don't really know what happened there. We have no idea. She went there. And we know very well that she's the woman that, whatever she is, raising her fist. These are Marxists sitting in the White House. They believe that stuff. Well, let's not forget also, just to give another piece of the puzzle, Obama opens to Cuba. Now Cuba is our ally. He's our friend. So much that also he wants reparation for us, and we're supposed to pay him back. And you watch it. Obama will give him some billions of dollars before he leaves office. Meanwhile, Obama let hundreds of thousands of Syrian refugees that we have no idea who they really are. These people mostly they look like militia people in the country without vetting, without any background check. And out of probably a couple 100,000, all you need to have probably 2% that they really believe they're crap, and they're really coming from some sort of military organization like ISIS, trained by the CIA and some other countries around the world, and they can come here and start to become the special forces of an invasion. Yes, it is. Our open borders, they've been open the last 20, 30, 40 years, but for sure the last 20 years, we've been witnessing, and I was on the borders, and more important, I know people that have been living there on the borders, not just the regular migrants, like you want to call them, the legal alien. No, you've been witnessing armed forces, paramilitary, or at least people that they look like military, trained with weapons, blending in, and some of them, they don't even look Mexicans. They look Oriental, and they look like Eastern Europe. Even in 2002, there was on Fox News like a short report about that. Some border patrols, they were shot by people look like Chinese, dressed in black, on the southern border with Mexico. So they've been there. So we got Obama, hot microphone with Russia before the elections, having more flexibility. We have Michelle going to China. Obama opens to Cuba. Obama brings ISIS and finance it. Obama mind his business and trying to completely provoke Russia in Syria and China in the Chinese South Sea. At the same time, destroy morally also our military. I don't care if you're gay or trans or whatever. It's your freaking business. But if you want to join the military, I really believe that there is something that you don't want to start to see, first of all. And I have a lot of respect for women. Sometimes I know women that they got more balls than many men out there. But still, if you want to join the Special Forces, the Navy SEALs, there are some standards that if you want to join, you must meet the standards. If you can make it, good for you, lady, or whatever you are. Good for you. But we cannot lower our standards just to try to politically correctness accommodate you. That's how you destroy also the fiber of our armed forces. Sorry. So also that part, Obama, of course, he didn't miss the beat. Now, at the same time, economy, we have a world war economy ready to implode. I don't need to tell you exactly what happened just a few weeks ago in Germany. The government freaking out, giving orders, at least warnings to the people. Since World War II never happened like that, prepare for food scarcity, and we have now situations like, in many countries in Europe, you cannot take more than €1,000 a day cash of your own money. So anyway, things are moving. Same story in other countries like Czech Republic, same situation, government freaking out, giving warnings to the population. So they know something's happening. Now, Syria, of course, in Syria, Obama started to bomb Russia. Russia bombs United Nations, whatever they are. We are one step before World War III. Just this week, 40 million Russians, for the first time probably since Cold War, they've been ordered to go to a military drill to go underground in bunkers ready for World War III, nuclear war. Meanwhile, of course, you listen about Kardashian and their $10 million jewelry being robbed, allegedly, by somebody in Paris. So, what if all this is planned to put us in World War III, in a situation that we cannot win? We're going to go to a war, maybe a short one, maybe a few nukes. And then what happens? The best dreams that every tyrant could ever had. When you have war, everything gets suspended. Your rights get suspended. Not because we have many left. We're already under martial law. But it's going to be a real good old-fashioned martial law. Probably the election's going to get suspended. Meanwhile, we cannot talk anymore about WikiLeaks and what really we can find out about Obama or Hillary or anybody else. No. Under national security, you shut up. Otherwise, you're a traitor. That would be nice, huh? That's what I believe is going to happen, my friends. We have a Manchurian candidate sitting in the White House. And by the way, it's not just the Democrats. Look at the Bushes. When you have a Bush and the Bush family supporting Hillary Clinton, you Democrats, you should probably, even if you are some sort of a particulate idiot out there, you should wake up a little bit. So wait a second. If Bush supports Hillary, maybe they're all in the same bed together. Don't you think that? That's what's happening. They're all together. This is not just a Democrat, they're the freaks. No. Good part of the Republicans, they're up together. They're selling us out. They sold us out. Now, I left you with this final video that I already played a few times. And when you put all this picture together, you will see how you will have here on U.S. soil an occupation, military forces. Because when you lose the war, morally and also militarily, you've been occupied. Maybe they may have white uniform and blue helmets. They may be dressed like the UN. But they will still be the people that in this video, this whistleblower, Mr. Larry Gradhall, it was the whistleblower that during the Wet Underground, he worked for the FBI and exposed Bill Ayers, that by the way is a friend of Obama, a plan for the re-education camps and to kill millions of Americans with the help of foreign forces. And why am I talking about this during the guns hours? Because that's exactly why. This time that we have right now. We pray to God that that's never going to happen. But meanwhile, we need every American. I don't care how old, how young, what's your sex. All I care that you have the free will to be free, to defend freedom, to defend our sovereignty. That's all I care. Let me play this one second, and then we wrap it up. Larry Gredhall became a member of the Weather Underground organization, an undercover operative. His role within the organization was to carry directive from the Central Committee to the operating units in the field. Here we go. Now he comes.
I brought up the subject of what's going to happen after we take over the government. We become responsible then for administrating, 250 million people. And there was no answers. No one had given any thought to economics. How are you going to clothe and feed these people? The only thing that I could get was that they expected that the Cubans and the North Vietnamese and the Chinese and the Russians would all want to occupy different portions of the United States. They also believed that their immediate responsibility would be to protect against what they called the counter-revolution. And they felt that this counter-revolution could best be guarded against by creating and establishing re-education centers in the Southwest, where we would take all the people who needed to be re-educated into the new way of thinking and teach them how things were going to be. I asked, well, what is going to happen to those people that we can't re-educate, that are die-hard capitalists? And the reply was that they'd have to be eliminated. And when I pursued this further, they estimated that they would have to eliminate 25 million people in these re-education centers. And when I say eliminate, I mean kill. 25 million people. I want you to imagine sitting in a room with 25 people, most of which have graduate degrees from Columbia and other well-known educational centers, and hear them figuring out the logistics for the elimination of 25 million people. And they were dead serious.
That was from 1982 documentary, No Place to Hide. This is not a conspiracy. This person is still alive. He witnessed those people. He witnessed those plans, the long-term plans. And I really believe we are at the final days. Maybe months. I don't think it's going to be more than 1 year. And if people want to laugh at me, that's fine. And I pray to be wrong. I'm not here to be right. What do you think? I enjoy this? I don't even like to talk about these things. I wish we could talk about pasta now and, I don't know, having fun and dating and whatever, poetry, music. Unfortunately, this is a call to be ready, a warning. You do what you want. All I can tell you, please, use this time. Do your own researches, all these little bits and pieces I told you. You analyze them yourself, verify them. It may be not today, but it's coming. And at that point, you know very well, it's a chess game. They will have the advantage. They think they will have the advantage. We may be facing alone the rest of them. They plan that we are just people cowering in our homes, watching TV, being overfed, eating too much GMO and drinking too much fluoride and being just over-medicated. Prove them wrong. Use this time. Get better. Feel better. Train. Buy a gun. Buy a rifle. Buy a shotgun. Buy ammo. Buy training. Network. Find each other. That's all I'm trying to say. That's the most important thing I can tell you right now. Use this time the best way you can. One day we may regret it. Every hour we wasted. Why you think I'm trying to put out there, don't trade on us, the Freedom Rifle for just $499? It's not about the money. I would like to have every law-abiding man and woman in between in this country armed, at least with a rifle. That's why. Because we need you all. Don't go away. You're listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom with luca-zanna. Ready for our number 3. It's going to be about love. And God help me. I hope to be wrong.
Have you ever met someone on an online dating site and thought, wow, this guy is perfect for me, or she is simply amazing, only to find out they were hiding a deep, dark secret? They plan to vote for Hillary. FreedomLovers.us was created for singles who want to exchange ideas and a love for freedom. People who are looking for solutions to create and defend freedom in the real world, and at the same time getting that once-in-a-lifetime chance to find their true soulmate. Whether you are interested in meeting your soulmate, making new friends, networking, or hanging out with that like-minded liberty lover, visit FreedomLovers.us. It's the first free dating site and community. So patriots, don't waste your time with other dating sites. FreedomLovers.us is the place where like-minded singles really click.
Here we go, guys and girls. You're listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom with luca-zanna on KTOX 1340 AM and all United States to the FM network. This is the final hour. This is the hour about love. I tell you something. This is the hour really, for me, motivate me to be on the air. After all I told you, I couldn't care less. 3 years ago, somebody gave me this opportunity, and I was almost laughing. I say, seriously, listen to me. I can't even speak English sometimes. But I say, you know what? Maybe this could be for me an opportunity to do my little duty as an American, as a human being. As you know, I do not believe in government. I believe in us, we the people, humans, Americans in this case. But I don't care where you're from. The point is, I believe that in charity, I believe that we can help each other. I believe that after all, maybe this life, it's a test. It's a test to see what we can do when we have the opportunity. Sometimes, you know, we go down. We hit the floor. We hit the bottom. I did in my life. I'm not ashamed, but I'm almost proud to tell you, you know, before I left Italy, 1998, I was coming from a very different environment. I was a music producer. I had a music magazine. I was the youngest music publisher in Italy. And thanks to the Italian government, they were able to really make me find out this crisis. It was even middle-age crisis. It would just say, I want to be the heck out of here. And I chose, that was by choice, to live 15 months on the streets of Rome. Think about it, coming from all this, record industry world, and me dressed up as the gladiator, say, give you the middle finger to the all Italian government, say, you know what, you're not going to get a dime from me. And I will live on the streets before I even pay you a dime. Pretty interesting choice. So when I see somebody living on the streets, or at least by, not choice like me, because after all, I was still making money when I was on the streets. I was taking photos dressed as the gladiator. I was making more money probably than when I was working in the regular world. But when I see people, unfortunately, that they live on the streets not by choice, but by, let's say, life, I understand how hard it can be. Because there is also a dark side. It is not a funny world. It is a tough world. So the purpose of the show, as I said, the final hour, is about love. And the best, the most powerful tool that we have to fight evil, it is love. Yes, guns and freedom, they are accessory. But at the end of the day, the real fuel, the real weapon that I think is going to save humanity against all this globalism, all this new world order, we don't need to go too far. Sometimes we can do our part just in our own neighborhood, here. So when somebody try to call me or try to say, hey, there is somebody maybe needs a little help. As I said, this is a humble radio show. But still, I do everything I can to share their story. And more important, we are not here to pass judgments. We're just here to say, if you need some help, maybe sometimes even just a little thing, I like to think always the philosophy, I'd rather to teach you how to fish than give you a fish every day. But sometimes you need a fish that day. Sometimes seriously, a meal and a bed could completely change your life because you can look at tomorrow with another daylight, with another eye. So anyway, to come to this story, so I don't talk too much like normally I do. I had a friend that we had on my show a few weeks ago from Sweden who wrote me just yesterday, a couple of days ago, and they said, listen, there is a lady in Phoenix who needs help right now. She's living on the streets, and she has no food, she has no water, and that's very bad. I don't care who you are. Seriously, right now we are blasting billions of dollars, giving them overseas to countries like really we're supposed not to give them a dime. But at the same time, we still have, unfortunately, situations like this. American people on our streets that maybe don't even have a bottle of water. So that's why I say, you know what? Nothing I can do. At least I would like to share this message of help to my Facebook friends. And hopefully there are some friends locally in the area of Phoenix that can help. At the same time, I would like to give this to this lady a microphone to share a story. And maybe, you listener, you're there. Maybe you can find a way to think about it. Maybe you can help. Maybe you can just send her a message. Whatever you can do. It's up to you. I'm not going to judge. I'm not going to tell you what to do, okay? Anyway, now let's go back to the guest. She's here. She's right now. She's in Phoenix. And her name is Radius Flux. Radius, are you there?
Yes, I am, Lucas.
Nice to meet you finally over the phone, And please, first of all, I want just to say, I don't want to say how you're doing because probably you're not doing that well, but I want to give you the microphone to introduce briefly yourself and to introduce your story. What happened to you the last few days? Because I know you were having a very tough time.
Yeah, it's kind of where to start sort of thing, I mean, my story isn't just my story. It happens every day, all the time. I've been in a domestic violence relationship for about the last, past 2 years, and kept my silence. It seemed like the easier thing to do, just basically stand mute and take it versus deal with more, more pain, more physical, mental, any sort of kind of torture you can kind of imagine. There's so many people that have been out there and dealt with this situation before too, and, they blame themselves, and that's what I did, I had it coming. It was my fault, maybe if I just loved the person more, maybe if I just did this more or that more, something would change,
Radius, can I ask you something? Sorry to interrupt you, because, I don't care, honestly, your sexuality, but, my only point was going to ask you that, because I want to remind everybody that domestic violence, it doesn't just always comes out of the typical guy with a beard and with a bottle of beer in his hand. I mean, it's also between women, correct?
That's absolutely a great point that you're making right now too, which I've been posting on my Facebook page as well. That violence and domestic violence doesn't discriminate. It doesn't. People often, like you said, they think that comes from a guy or whatever. It comes in all shapes and all forms, and it doesn't discriminate. So. That's absolutely correct.
So you were with your companion, with your lover, which is a woman, of course, and she did really physically assault you. I mean, she really beat you up. I mean, what she did? She threw things at you, punch you. I mean, just curious because something, as I said, our stereotype of domestic violence, we can see the beast man. Well, is dirty or whatever, with a beard and, alcoholic, whatever, beating the crap out of the poor woman there. But, it's hard to visualize another woman beating another woman like that, but unfortunately it happens. Can you describe a little more details? It was it physical, also psychological?
It was all of the above, She would hit me with clothes, she would throw things at me, she'd pull my hair, slap me. She would just, when she would snap, I would try and hold her down, but, the fact that people just think that, like you said, men, because they do have more, they're stronger physically for the most part. But, it's not about necessarily that, I mean, the fact that, people can hurt each other. I mean, doesn't matter what size they are, picking up something and hitting someone with something or punching or pulling it, just the same thing, she kicked in, my studio door so many times, because also I try and get away from her.
Wow.
That I had to keep changing the lock, but that didn't help.
You know what is said also, you try to ask for help, maybe you call the cops. Unfortunately, according to the laws that we have right now, both of you, you're going to get pretty much in trouble, even if you're the victim or the alleged victim. Because after all, I don't know if, this is at least for people who want to exercise the Second Amendment rights. Once you are in this domestic violence, even if you are the victim, and I have a lady friend of mine who 10 years ago she was the one beaten up, called the cops, and then, the cops arrest the husband, or at least what used to be the husband, and then a few years later she's trying to buy a gun, and the background check says, sorry, no, you were in domestic violence, you can buy any gun. So wait a sec, I was the victim. So that's always scary even that. Did you have any experience with the police? Did you have to call the police one of these disputes or these fights?
Oh.
Did you?
Well, the first time, this is an ongoing thing, as most, domestic violence relationships, they tend to, get the person under their thumb, where I was literally under lock and key, where she took my key and would hide it. Or if I wanted to leave and go make friends out here, I was going to have sex with them. Or, she would literally come down the street after me and flailing her arms and making a scene and calling me names and grabbing onto my leg and don't leave me. All that. So I figured, well, I don't want to deal with this. So, path of least resistance is go back in the house.
A lot of drama. A lot of drama. Listen,
yeah.
How many years all this torture has been going on?
About 2 years now.
2 years. Okay. Listen, as I said, and by the way, I want to be fair with everybody. I talk to you and I'm listening to your side. I'm not there with you and I'm not here to be a judge because I don't know the other side. All I'm saying is the purpose of this interview is mostly to say you need help right now. Okay. Now we go a little more details exactly where you are. You are on the streets and it's no fun place to be for anybody. And as I said, so all I'm saying here and now, yes, we want to see, first of all, the domestic violence reality. Unfortunately, my point was to try to make people understand it doesn't happen just to the regular couples. It's not just about husband and wife or boyfriend and girlfriend. Unfortunately, it happens between everybody. So that's my point. Yeah. And then it degenerates to also situations, especially when you're dependent or maybe when things are not straight from the beginning, that you can be thrown out in the middle of the street. That happens to women. I mean, many women, they just bang, they use them and dispose them. And that's normal. And now you see it can happen to you too. So tell me, how ended up that now you are living on the streets?
Well, this is kind of her modus operandi. She's done this to several people before where, in fact, she's, and like I said, there's two sides to every story. But this is, what I know. And I'm actually going to the court today, the courthouse, to try and get it rescinded or, at least get an order of protection against her so I can get into my own home and just remove my belongings and get her out of my life. It's about control. Like talking to my caseworker, she's mad because what I did, Luca, I did about a month ago, is I ghosted the situation, which means that I left, without any warning, because I couldn't. I had tried to leave before, and that did not end in a good way at all. So as soon as I broke the silence and I let my family know, and I showed the pictures and I showed, all the stuff that had been happening to me, they didn't hesitate. They rushed and, they're in Portland, Oregon, and they drove, like it took them 24 hours, a little over 24 hours to get here, straight drive. So anyway.
How many days you've been exactly out of the place you used to live with your companion, and how many days technically you've been on the streets?
Now it's been 4 days.
Wow.
But last night I actually did get a place to stay, and thank God, thank so many people out there for reaching out. I do have really good friends, and then people I didn't even know that for friends and cared. Found me a safe friend. Her name's Andy. I don't know what I should and shouldn't share on over your radio show, but she did find me a very nice man that he had an extra room. So last night was the first night that I got to stay indoors because a lot of, just in that short amount of time, unsavory things have happened, and being a younger woman and being a target, that it's pretty obvious that right now I'm on the streets and stuff. So it's not, especially Arizona, and like you're sharing your story, that it's never safe.
It's never safe. Even when you got money in your pocket. When I was on the street, I was loaded, okay? But at least I was making $400, $500 a day. So that was kind of crazy because I had my own RV. I was like kind of a gypsy king on the streets. But I had to fight with the local mafia. I had to fight with the local police. They wanted to, deny me my right to be my own on the street. I mean, it was kind of a rough environment. But at least I had a couple of monies, and I was a guy. And I had also a sword on me, okay? I was a gladiator, for God's sake. Now, you see, you're a single woman in the middle of Phoenix that is like hell. Probably it's worse than an ancient Rome with the lions. I mean, at night, only God knows what you have to face. Seriously, it's a really serious stuff. And people don't understand till they see that. Because when you drive in your car, in the regular car or whatever, even if you go in the bad part of town, you're still in your car, it goes fast. When you're on the streets, you see the hours passing by, especially when you start to have, hours normally people are in bed. You start to see the creeps, like almost the walking zombies. These movies coming out. They are not zombies. They're alive. They can run and can kill you, rape you, do terrible things to you. And the cops, all they do, they come there, maybe if they can find you, to write a report. So you are really on your own. Before we go to the second part, of course, I want to see what people can do for you. In these 4 days that you had and nights that you had on the streets, anything that maybe just to visualize a little more what you went through, anything you can tell us?
Yeah. When I was, it was just the other night too. I was upset, and I was, down the street, and a man, came by in a motorcycle, and, he could tell that I was homeless, and then he said, started talking to me and said, if you want to jump on board, and take you somewhere safe, and I know what it's like, all that jazz. And I made the stupid decision of getting, I just, wanted to trust someone, and I don't know. I just wasn't thinking, but I went with him, and he took me to a park, and he started to assault me. But luckily, I have someone looking out for me up above. I don't know if it's just the common sense I had to, promise him later that I would call him and hook up with him later, but I was able to get out of there, but,
okay, so you were able
being, assaulted, attacked in ways.
He was trying to rape you. That's the bottom line. I mean, this is exactly what I was thinking about. There are unfortunately vultures out there that when they see an animal in distress, because, after all, they treat us like animals. When they see you on the ground, it's like almost an animal game, okay? There are these, I don't want to call them wolves, because wolf is much more noble animal. And I don't want to call them coyote, because they're still noble animals. These are like parasites, and they're really, cowards. They see a woman, or even a man. I mean, I got guys that I know that they were on the streets, and they got raped, okay? Because they were just in a position of weakness. So I'm glad at least that you didn't have to go through the whole drama, but you were able to stop it on time. But the point is, it is a very dangerous place. Now, are you trying to, first of all, what you need exactly right now? If I could have the magic wand, okay, and I'm a little Aladdin or whatever I can do, or maybe one of my listeners could do, okay, what would you like to have that to make your life a little better? I'm not talking about the whole life. We can fix all your life, but maybe just the next few days. What do you need?
Oh, that's such a good question. I've been trying to, sort that on my mind because there's so much being thrown out at me where it's like, I have my own home studio. I'm a musician as well. I have an online clothing store. I have, it's all in there, and she knows that. And I did break away from what we were talking about earlier, how my family had helped me ghost the situation and get me out of there. So that was like about a month ago, and so I had changed my bank accounts. I had blocked her, all of her friends. Did all the things to get the no contact in order, and then I got out of there. But foolishly, she found other people to contact me and, say that, she wasn't going to do it. She refused to do it. She was not going to do it without me, and then friends, saying that, she's going to kill herself inadvertently or, directly, just, the whole gamut and playing at the heartstrings, that, I'll change.
Okay.
This will never happen again.
I'm not Dr. Phil, okay? I'm not a psychologist. I'm not a family consultant. I'm just a regular guy. But from outside, as a friend, even if I don't know you, I think, there are some things you cannot change. The only thing you can change is you. It's time to get out of there and move on with your life and do whatever you have to do. Now, my point is practically, for example, I know that you have some of your stuff, your personal belongings, in the place. Was it an apartment or was it a home, if I can ask you? Was it a rental? What is this?
It's an apartment. It's a 2-bedroom apartment.
Okay, so you were sharing this apartment with your lover, okay, with your girlfriend, correct? Correct. So now she's there. She's taking possession of all your things. And bottom line, what would you like to have? Just to understand. So people, maybe we can help you in practical things that we can do, hopefully. You would like to have, first of all, somebody that can come there with you and load up whatever you have and take it with you, correct? That would be the first thing. Am I right?
Yes, that is absolutely correct because, this is a manipulation power play, and she just wants to make me pay for leaving her in the first place and then getting me to come back out here. So that and then legal consultation, I could really use someone that knows about the law out here because I have, photographs of the times that she's hitting me, the things that she's broken, the lies, the manipulation in emails and texts and a lot of stuff.
Okay, that's the second issue is about, you weren't married, correct? You're just a girlfriend and girlfriend, am I right?
Correct.
So, now
wanted to get married, but I didn't.
My point is this one, if I can ask you. At this point, you already went through the violence. The drama is already being passed. And it's just me, of course. I don't know exactly what you obtained from the system, because I really believe that the system wouldn't give you much, in my opinion. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm no lawyer here, okay? But the point is, once you get your stuff and you get the hell out of there, what do you need even to entertain any other further discussion with this lady? Seriously. At that point, I'm sorry. You got abused, or allegedly I say you got abused because, of course, I'm not here in front of a court of law and there is no judgment. But the point is, going back there, I don't think you're going to get nothing out of her, just more drama.
I don't want to at all. I don't want to at all.
Yeah.
What I want to do legally here is she's done this to not only me, but she's done this to other people. She's cried rape several times. She's had these orders of protection, put on other people so she can manipulate and, do what she would like to do,
You need some help to get your stuff back. Do you need legal help? Because right now, probably, I don't know, do you have access? Can you come close to your belonging to the...
Okay. That's a very, very good question too, Luca. Now, out in Arizona, I guess, reading it, it says that you have a total of one time to get your belongings, and trust me, she's going to, where you can, if you're a good person, allow the person the time to go in there and, an hour or two.
Okay.
But it's a police standby, and it's usually only for like 15 minutes. So,
okay.
Luckily, I did not unpack my stuff because I felt.
How much stuff do you have? How much? I don't think. I mean, living in an apartment, I don't think you have to move like Martha Stewart's home. Okay, so I'm sure we can manage that probably with a little rented truck. How much stuff do you really have? I mean, a couple of guys. Don't you think they could help?
Yeah, because like I said too, I kept it all packed up again. I can send you pictures of my studio because I have a music studio in there.
You don't have to. What I will do is this. If you send it to me, I'll put it on Facebook. I'm going to call here to my listeners that they live around the Phoenix area. Of course, my show mostly is Mojave County here, Laughlin, Nevada, and Needles, California. But if you are somebody listening to this broadcast and you live in the Phoenix area, exactly where are you in? What is your apartment?
It's in Tempe, and then it's 1314.
Okay, we don't need to give more details of the show. But anyway, The point is this: if you have like a couple hours of your time to say, hey, maybe right now, rather than, I don't know, it's your call. You want to help another person who needs some help. You don't need to be involved in anything. Just be a truck driver and a mover for a couple hours. Some people like to go to the hospital and help people. Some other people like to go to church. I like to go to the range and help people. But in this case, I think it's really a good thing. If you have a truck, or maybe a couple trucks, a couple friends, and to find a way to help this lady, I think would be a very nice thing. And at that point, what I will do is this. Of course, it's up to you. You have a Facebook page that I know you have access when you have the internet, or at least when you have the electricity to charge your phone. If you can give any way that you want to, way people can communicate with you, so they can reach you out, and maybe they can say, by the way, maybe I have a little storage area, you can put your stuff for a while, or maybe, I don't know, whatever people can offer you to help you. I'm here just to give you the microphone. So please give the way how the people can contact you.
Okay. Well, I do have my email address, and then my Facebook. It is Radius Flux, and like I said, I do have an online clothing store. It's Couture Pop Threads with a K.
Spell it out. Spell it out again. I want to go to the website right now.
Okay.
Go ahead.
It's KOUTREPOPTHREADS.com.
Okay. What you do also, when you can, send me the text via Facebook, and I will post it out on my website, lovegunsfreedom.com. Because what I like, people want to help people. Guess what? We don't even need to give you buy some of your products. That would be fun. Get some of your products, and the same way we can help you out. But of course, there are many other ways too. So yes, let's do that. Please, if you want, reach this woman. If you live in the area, it's a great thing to do. That's all I'm saying. This is nothing about getting involved in anything. It's just about somebody right now needs some help to get their stuff back. And maybe, for example, let me ask you, did you find any help after yesterday we put out that little Facebook post in your area, at least to have a place to sleep the next few days?
Yes, there was such an amazing outpour of, friends, of people I didn't know. Like I said, my friend from Oregon, Andy, I was trying to get a hold of, I'm sorry, I believe it was Benjamin, and another, I'm not sure. I messaged quite a few of them, but I understand that people have lives and they were busy, so I couldn't get a hold of them at first, and then Andy got hold of a friend out here that she knew that was, a solid person, and she had stayed with for a time out here.
So
she was living out here.
So you're okay for the next few days. You have a room, you have a roof, you got some food, and you can reorganize your things. Now, bottom line, what I think really would help you out, if you have a guy or a girl, I don't care who is he, somebody can help you out with 2 arms strong enough to move your stuff, put them in a truck, and so you can start to take back your stuff. And, of course, hopefully the police going to be there present to keep the peace.
Yeah.
And no dramas. You leave and you start to back on your life, and you do whatever you want to do in your life without any more to face all the drama. Am I right? That would make your life pretty much nice, right? I mean, at least back to normal, correct?
Yes, that's correct, Luca. Another thing that is very important to me is to not continue to let this happen to other people as well, where she's gotten away with this for such a long time. So the legal advice, I have people, exes that have come forward to me, like even in the beginning, and said, get away from her. She's going to, claim you raped her. She's going to, she cuts herself and hurts herself, and then she'll blame it on you. So if I could get any sort of legal counsel, that would help me to go.
One thing I think would be helpful, beside a specific person in general, as you experience, because I noticed that I see pattern between man or woman, doesn't matter, when sometimes, the wife or the woman got beat up. And I know that because I got my mother, unfortunately, was part of terrible physical abuse by my father. I know probably I shouldn't share this stuff on the air, but this is true. This is real life. And I saw with my own eyes. That's why when I see things like that, I get really mad. Because I think, first of all, violence, it is not the answer, unless for self-defense. And more important, when you use violence against a person that normally is weaker than you, like a woman in this case, it's really an act of cowardice. It is there is no justification. So my point is this: what I really would like to say, and I tell you, my mom had an excuse. I had 2 children. And she tried everything she could to keep a family together. But there is a point when you reach really the limit, because your safety, your health. I mean, you can go to the hospital every other week. I mean, that's going to kill you, okay? So the point is, you got to say stop. And that's probably what I think your experience would be important, not just with the specific person that you're talking about, but also in general for all the other people out there that they always say, maybe there is hope, maybe she can change, or maybe he can change. I'm sorry, once you raise your hand the first time on another person, especially in a relationship, it's a very good 99% you're going to do it again. And no, I don't.
Especially if there's no consequences.
Exactly.
Like, if a child is doing something it shouldn't be doing, and the parent doesn't, gently teach them to not keep doing it, they'll keep doing that and keep pushing it as far as they can go until eventually, in domestic violence situations especially, it can end up with someone dead.
Listen, if you are 2 people at the same type of level, sometimes, like brothers and sisters, with my brother, once in a while we used to fight a little bit, okay? No big deal. It was a brother's fight, okay? But that's different. I would never touch a woman or a person that I know, for example, as some, let's say, you see that you have a physical advantage. That's so wrong, period, okay? And that's why I tell you, I grew up with this repulsion when I see a man touch a woman that is not for a nice way. I got disgusted and I get mad, and that's why I really hate domestic violence, because I saw enough when I was a child, and I promise never in my life to touch a woman. More important, if I see somebody doing that, I may go loosen it up a little bit, and I get violent a little bit myself, but not with a woman, of course. My point is this one. I see a kind of, slender lady, kind of skinny, and I don't know the other side. She's like physical, little bigger than you. I mean.
No, she's actually a little bit smaller than me.
Oh, really?
One of the things that, one of the things that you talk about too, though, right now, I I do have a lot of medical issues right now, where I do have cancer, and it was in remission.
Oh my gosh!
So I've especially lost, I've lost 30 pounds over the last year too.
Wow!
So I've got my medications in there. I've got doctor's appointments, constantly. So, especially, being I shouldn't be on the streets in the first place, but then being sick on top of it, I don't really stand a chance. I don't stand a chance to be able to fend off, attacker or the violence that she's bestowed upon me.
And it's wrong. I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't care if, even if you're at the same level, we should never fight. We should never use violence. Just leave the house and see you. We move on. But the point is, sometimes, I hate the idea when there is somebody that is stronger or maybe, is physical advantage and take advantage of a woman or a man, doesn't matter, that is in a position of weakness. I mean, that's terrible. I really believe that there is no excuse. Now, talking about something different a little bit, because I'm sorry to hear that also beside this problem, you also have some medical problems. I mean, it's really like the expression that they use when, it pours when it rains or whatever in America you say, I forgot. Yeah. But anyway, let's talk about positive things now. I know you're into music, and of course you got your line of the clothing. Tell me a little bit about what do you do? You write, you compose, you produce. What do you do with the music?
I'm very, very fluid as far as I've DJ'd for over a decade, but I kind of wanted to do my own thing. Mm-hmm. So, I'm more of a composer, and my dream would be to, do soundtracks, but right now, unfortunately, it's kind of, a lot of this has kind of had to be put on the back burner. And in fact, I was getting ready to start a community project. I got the domain names, I got the e-commerce to start a website.
Okay.
For diverse styles of music.
What do you like?
Women that are in music.
What type of music do you like?
I'm a lover of all music classical. I love EDM. I love country. I love rock. I love, new wave, old wave, 80s, IDM, trance, dubstep, hip hop, trip hop. So
one step
a little bit of everything.
One step at a time. I say, first of all, let's try to get you back on track to have a roof, to have a place where you can live and work, because also you need a place to work, okay? I mean, you can't just work from the street unless you were like me, taking photos with tourists as a gladiator. That's a different type of job. I don't think in Phoenix would work very well there. So anyway,
so that's the thing is I have an online store. All the stock is in there, and she knows that.
Yeah. So you need to get your stuff back. One more time, let's give the way how people can contact you if they live in the Phoenix area or wherever area. Sometimes people drive to watch a football game. They drive for hours, okay? I mean, wherever you are, if you can afford it, if you have the time, if you can help this lady, all we ask you here to spend a few hours of your time with a truck or any type of whatever you have to move stuff, okay? And move her stuff, coordinate it with her so she can get her stuff away from the place where her ex-lover is. And hopefully maybe next step would be if somebody maybe in the area has a little garage they could drop for a few days or maybe a few weeks, I don't know. Whatever time she needs, your belonging. And at that point you have a chance to start to look for your own place, reorganize your work, reorganize your life, and try to put this behind. Okay, give your information again, one more time.
Okay, is it okay if I give my phone number?
For me, it's fine. Okay? That's fine. I mean, whatever you want.
Okay. That would probably be the best if someone can text, because I do keep my, codes in a lockbox in my studio. So my phone number is 602-826-1972, and I'll be, anytime of, night or day. If anybody would kindly text or call, either or, it would just be, a godsend.
All right, listen, I want to say pray for you. That's all I can do right now. And I would like to buy some of your clothing. I don't know if I can fit. I'm kind of a big guy. Is it for guys or girls, your clothing?
It's a little bit of everything.
Okay, I want to buy. I want to buy a couple things. I would like to buy a couple things as next week, and I would like to hear good news from you. Okay, that somehow we can find you somebody to help you out in the move, so you can get your stuff. And give me a ring as you got this good news. And I would like to put you back on the show. And we promote a little bit your website. And maybe we can do some shopping. Okay?
Oh, thank you.
All right.
And thank you to everyone that has just reached out that I don't know, and the people I do know. I don't know what I really don't. I don't know what I would have done had there not been an outpour of people, being humans, and understanding that this isn't, it doesn't discriminate. It could happen to anyone. It could be, like a mother, a sister, a brother, anyone. And the fact that people can put the shoe on the other foot when a lot of times these days people don't do that, It's just, in your show is amazing that is about love and about connecting and about, pulling together as people should, if we want to make it through any crisis, because it could happen to anyone. Like I said, this is not just my story, this is other people's stories.
Yes,
so many
is.
people's stories.
And I want to thank Solar from Sweden, because, honestly, I was in the morning waking up, drinking my coffee, and if it wasn't for her, I have no idea what's going on with you. And, I'm just here in the middle of nowhere, Navajo County, living in the desert, and this lady from Sweden. Think about this is the beautiful part of all this, a woman that we never met, we are Facebook friends, but she's friends with you, of course. And she cares about you. She's been following your story, and she tried to do everything she can, and that was great. I'm glad. I didn't do much, but all I did was, hey, I have other friends out there in Phoenix. Hopefully they can help, or even just try to make you feel less alone, because that's sometimes, I tell you, when you are alone, you are in a situation like living on the streets, you can have bad thoughts, okay? But you think literally the world is ending, and that's not the right way. And I believe the least we can do is say, you're not alone, times are tough, and I always believe we need to reach the bottom sometime. We need to reach the destruction to have a rebirth. I tell you, and I don't want to make you feel like, the corny moment of the story, but when I left Italy, my last few months, I really reached the bottom. I mean, even, of course, it was my choice, and I lived 15 months pretty much on the streets almost, okay? That's where I was. I was working on the streets. And I came here with nothing. I came here with 2 luggages full of dreams. And I'm telling you, I don't want to say that I got it all together, but guess what? I feel that I have more than I deserve. And my bottom line is this. There is always hope. There is always hope. And sometimes we got to really learn from our mistakes. And we got to really start push the reset button. And maybe this is your reset button. I hope it is, And from this, you're going to, maybe next year we're going to talk and say, you know what, my gosh, it seems like a life ago that I was going through all that garbage, and now I'm doing fine, I'm better, my health is better, I got my new lover or whatever you want to have, and I got my business going, and I'm a happy human being. That's what I really pray for you, okay?
Thank you so much. It's amazing. I'm just speechless, really. I really don't know how to even take this in, because I haven't really experienced much help or love throughout my life.
Listen, radios, don't need to thank me. I just do this. You're my sister. Even I don't know you. You're a woman that needs help. And all I say, I'm here, everything I can. Right now, let's do that. Do what you have to do with your day. Try to gather all your information. Hopefully we can get by this weekend somebody to help you out with the move. That would be the next call for me, if I were you. Get your stuff out. Let's be in touch next few weeks. Right now I would like to dedicate a song I wrote a few years ago. It's a song of hope, and there is always sun after the thunder. Okay? This is music lyrics by myself, dedicated to you and to every other woman or man out there that right now they're facing tough times. Okay?
Thank you, Luca. Wait, may I say one more thing real quick?
Yes.
I do want to thank Solar so much. You know, we're both in a support group, and we've been there for each other, but this is just, you know, her stepping forward. It's helped so much. So I just wanted to put that out there again, too. And Luca, and there's so many people that have helped. So.
All right. So, Lisa, you got my cell phone, you got my Facebook. We are friends now. Keep me posted. Everything's going on. And if I didn't have already things to do this weekend, I have things that unfortunately I committed a few months ago, I would probably drive down to Phoenix just to check you out a little bit. But maybe you're going to take care of this week. And I should come to Phoenix pretty soon, by the way. I have a gun show in December. I want to see you by then. I hope you're going to be great by then. And by the way, let's be in touch because I may come and we have lunch together. I invite you for lunch, okay?
I would love that. Thank you so much. I look forward to meeting face-to-face.
All right. Listen, have a wonderful rest of the day. And now, guys, don't go away. You're listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom with luca-zanna. There is always sun after the thunder. And then we wrap it up this hour. You'll be listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom. Don't go away.
Sometimes in life, you lose your way. You feel alone with all your pain. You see no hope. You have no faith. Just please hold on. Things are gonna change. There's always sun after the thunder. There will be hope in our lives. Oh baby, please hold me tight. There's always sun after the thunder. There will be rainbows in your eyes. Oh baby, you will never cry anymore. Another day, another rain. You are my life. You keep me sane. You are the breeze that blows away these dark clouds out of my way. Sun after the thunder. There will be hope in our lives. Oh baby, please hold me tight. There's always sun after the thunder. There will be rainbows in your eyes. Oh baby, you will never cry anymore. I never wanna see you cry. No more pain in your eyes. Rather die, baby. Rather There's always sun after the thunder. There will be hope in our lives. Oh baby, please hold me tight. There's always sun after the thunder. There will be rainbows in your eyes. Oh baby, you will never cry anymore.
He's a songwriter, a poet, a rifleman,
I'm not afraid.
and a constitutional activist.
I'm not afraid.
Italian by birth,
I'm
American by choice, luca-zanna.
I'm not afraid.
And his new CD, Love, Guns, and Freedom. 16 powerful songs on one CD from the heart of a patriot. For download or to order the CD, go to www.lovegunsfreedom.com. That's www.lovegunsfreedom.com. Lyrics for your mind, music for your heart. luca-zanna's new CD, Love, Guns, and Freedom.
Hey, you. Yes, I'm talking to you. You deserve a break. Enjoy a moment of indulgence. It's time for Zanna Coffee. Guilt-free pleasure. Zanna Coffee is the organic coffee to amplify your senses and enhance love for life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Only the best organic and GMO-free coffee beans from around the world that I selected. Zanna Coffee brings you happiness in every cup. Fair trade certified, sustainable organic coffee. That means we do not use slaves. Free Zanna songs with every coffee bag. Find Zanna Coffee at www.zannacoffee.com. www.zannacoffee.com. Get your coffee bag now. Don't be cheap. Life is too short and you deserve the best. Zanna Coffee. There we go. This is the final part. Today's show, Love, Guns, and Freedom with luca-zanna. What can I say? It's a blessing to be here. I really mean it. And it's a blessing even in these tough times. I believe we are here for a reason. Sometimes I don't really understand it, but I know there is a reason. And it almost seems like we are finding each other. And one of the reasons why I kept going doing this show, and I tell you, it's a sacrifice for me. It takes a lot of energy. I'm just a regular guy. I don't have a bunch of slaves working for me, okay? I have businesses, several businesses need to run, responsibility, family, a mother, a brother. I mean, I have things. And this show, if I want to do it the way I want to do it, it takes effort. But I tell you, I'm grateful every time. I'm grateful every second. And I want to thank also, somebody that normally we don't really agree. And still is the responsible that I'm here on the show. Mr. Deveis. I'm getting close to my 3rd year on the air. And it's funny, it's almost the date. A few more weeks, going to be 3 years I'm on the air. I cannot believe it. Mr. Deveis is the former owner of the station. And, we disagree on many things. Sometimes it drives me crazy, seriously. And I think it's just normal. It's like we are alpha and omega. But the one thing I tell you, he always gave me the freedom of speech, like also the new owner is giving me. Don't get me wrong. So I want to thank him. I want to thank also Mr. Rubin, that still somehow, it's his show, it's his station. Let me be here and sharing exactly what I want to share. I don't go through any filters. I can say whatever I want, and the moment that they don't agree with me, doesn't agree with me, I'll be gone. That's fine. But the point, I'm here. And why I think it's important, I'm grateful. Because what we're doing here, it is more than just a show. I hate the word show. This is not entertainment. This is about life. This is about freedom. This is about the future of this generation, next generation. It's not just about the future of America. It's about the future of humanity. I know it's a humble little local show here in Needles, broadcasting between, Laughlin, Bullhead, whatever. But it's beyond that. I really believe even Facebook, that is such a control instrument of self-voluntary, let's say, control. They control us through Facebook. They monitor. They have algorithms. I understand. But playing through their tools, we can reach each other. We can somehow wake up others. And that's the purpose also of the show. I'm not here to be the radio guy, I said many times. I'm here just to try to find each other, to inspire each other, to learn from each other. There is so much I learn as a human being, as an American, as everything you can imagine. To be here, it's an honor. That's all I want to say. And I tell you, sometimes I may come out a little harsh. Yes, I have my own opinions. But more important, normally I wouldn't care less. If you really disagree with me on things like they don't really touch me, it's your freedom. I don't care. But when you disagree on things like you want to change my rights, you want to change my life, you want to judge me, you want to somehow impose your morals on me, and I'm not harming anybody else, or you want to use my money or our money for your utopistic situation, forcing, extorting through the government, that's why I become kind of harsh. But normally, I'm a very mild person. I love everybody. Seriously, I really think we should all get along if we respect each other. That's the idea. And also another thing, this hour about love is probably the most, for me, beautiful part of the show. Having the opportunity to reach each other, even just to try to help each other, even just sometimes just listening. I'm not saying that I'm here, I have the magic wand. I'm just a regular guy. I wish I had, unlimited funds, and every time I can help somebody, I would love to. I'm just a guy. I work hard. I work for a living, okay? I'm not David Rockefeller. I don't print money out of thin air, okay? But still, the point is, it's a great opportunity and great honor to be with you. That's all I want to say. And I want to thank Mr. Ace to encourage me to be on the air. I wanted to say again, thank you, Mr. Rubin, to let me stay here. And more important, you listeners, to give me the opportunity, with your help, with your support, spreading the show, even supporting through purchasing my products, because that's the way we support this show for me. Otherwise, I would have not really the energy and the resources. I have to make a living, seriously. Anyway, thank you. That's all I wanted to say. All right. I also would like to say next Sunday, incredible guest, more information, more love, more guns, and more freedom. And if you want to support this show, you don't need to be rich. 99 cents. Seriously. You can download any of my songs. You can get them for free on YouTube. That's true. If you want to help me out and keep the motivation and keep also my time, because I have used a lot of hours out of my week, go to www.zanna.us. Now, God's willing, please have a wonderful week. Let's pray for peace, but be prepared for the worst. And let's not forget, we are here, limited time on this planet. One day we'll be judged. And you don't need to believe anything. But regardless what you believe, one day we'll be judged. I really believe that. But whatever, be nice. That's all I can say. Don't be an ass, okay? You're listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom with Luca-Zanna. Talk to you next Sunday. Ciao.